We're back. Friday. Yet again, 7 p.m. Almost on the dot. A little bit late. A minute late. When running around, okay, trying to get all this shit together. I'm gonna have to turn on a fan. There's no way I can survive in this room. What's up, Adorable Waffles? Good seeing you, chat. Damn, I feel like my face looks so red. I'm hot. I'm freaking burning up in here. I'm gonna have to turn on something. Hang on one second. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Hopefully, this fan is not making noise. Let me know. Somebody in chat, let me know if this fan is making noise because I turned on a fan. Doesn't look like it's getting picked up. But anyways. We're back. It is Friday yet again. It's kind of scrambling to get things together. You don't hear shit. Good. That's what I want to hear. Let's keep it that way. Scrambling a bit to get things together this evening. But we got some content. We got some juicy content for the night. We have Elon Musk hitting trillionaire mark. We have a little video there to watch. Very monumental, I guess, in some sense. We're living through first trillionaires. Wow, how exciting. I found 20 bucks on the ground today. That's my achievement. We got some alien stuff to talk about. We have Nala Ray back. Clips floating around with her grift, the return of the grift. We have Gen Alpha to talk about. There was a video that popped up, and I want to talk about this because when I went out to the East Coast, I was with Uncle Rob. They talked quite a bit about the youth. And I thought this would be great to talk about. Turn this down a little bit. There we go. I thought this would be great to talk about. I saw it pop up in the feed and I thought, you know what? I really wanted to, because I actually should have talked about it last week, but I completely forgot. But that was I remember that was like a whole big, I don't want to say portion, because I mean, it was just a real big conversation we had about the youth and how ill-equipped they are for dealing with the future and growing up in adulthood. And it seems to be. We don't know. We don't exactly know what's going to happen. Maybe they'll adapt, but it just seems to be, at least the things that we know of, to be valuable, to be important skills. Younger generations don't seem to embody those things. A lot of them. So, but anyways, we'll get into that. We'll take a look at that. And then obviously it's the grift that keeps on giving. We got Elijah. Quite a week for Elijah. And some of the stuff I can't get fully into. You'll have to do, you'll have to go a little on your own to check some of that stuff out because it's TOS. But man, oh man, this guy has been a great source of content. I'll say that. I pitched my flag. I hitched my wagon to the best lolcow. He might be lolcow of the year, okay? People on Kiwi Farms are saying he might be lolcow of the year. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? We picked him. Basically. We've been covering him for like months now. And it's just been grift after grift after grift. Bullshit, drama after drama after. It's been a miracle, honestly. Much like finding that 20 on the ground. I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, he could have just fallen off, been boring as hell. And maybe that actually would have been better for him. But it's just been nonstop. It's been nonstop. Every week it feels like there's something. But I guess that's kind of what you have to do in the attention economy. You know, maybe some of the stuff is manufactured too, you know? It's a manufactured attention economy. And we, the yapping class, go to report on it. Anyway, so we got some of that to talk about. We have a couple things with him to talk about that happened this week. And then that should be the stream. It might be a shorter one, depending on how long it takes us to get through this stuff. It might only be a couple hours. Last stream was like 5.5 hours. We had an impromptu Dick Wilson conversation, which took up like an hour and a half, which was lovely. I thought it was great. And people, King of Sheba, giving him shit in the comments on the last one. King of Sheba, you get up here. You get up here. You try it. Yeah, this is tougher than it looks. Hassan was right. This is harder than a 9 to 5, okay? Hassan is wrong on basically everything else. But on this, since I've started doing it, I don't know, man. Anyways, before we get into any of that stuff, gonna be a great show tonight. Before we get into any of that, please give me a subscribe on YouTube, JChem on YT right here. Follow me on X. Let's move this down over here. JChem on YT, same exact thing. Helps me out a ton. Warms my heart. We're pushing to 400. We got over the 300 hump. I'm gonna kind of make a like post hoc rationalization. Look, I made it over the 300 hump and I took a little time off because that was my goal. Hit 300 to beat Uncle Rob and his sourpuss attitude. And I did. So I took a little break. Now we're back. We're integrating it back. Slowly but surely. Now the next milestone is actually going to be 500, but let's push for 400. Once we get to 500, maybe we'll do something crazy. I don't know. We'll see how things kind of pan out. I'm constantly thinking of... We'll turn this down. Actually, we'll just pause it. I'm constantly thinking of ways to tune, fine-tune, things to do with the channel. Ways I can change, make things better, more, you know, more just fun, entertaining. I like to have fun, okay? I like to have fun. I like to chill. I like the drama shit. I think that's just fun bullshit to talk about. But I also want to get into maybe some more conspiratorial, maybe not even really political, honestly. Politics to me, I'm just so checked out of that bullshit. But conspiratorial, maybe philosophical, maybe religious. But I think mixing these together on the same stream is just a little like jarring, where it's like, oh yeah, we're going to talk about Elijah Schaffer and his weekly crash out. And then we're going to talk about the Middle East. I think I got to like, you know, I have to take these apart a little bit. And so I'm thinking, you know, one thing I can integrate, because I want to integrate things, but I don't want it to be, this is something people I think completely overlook when they're starting a new endeavor, is that they want to go, and I've had this happen to me in the past, is that you want to go balls to the wall, right? You want to go, I'm going to do it all. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the whole 9 yards. I'm going to make it the best. I'm going to buy the best equipment. I'm going to spend thousands of dollars. And then what happens is you get bored of it, or it doesn't really turn out the way you thought it was going to turn out, and then you kind of give up on it, and you wasted a lot of money, and you couldn't manage. So you always start small, right? You always start small. We start from a seed, and then you let it grow. But even once the seed starts growing and you want to add to it, you have to figure out a way to integrate into your normal daily life and routine the extras, right? You can't just like throw everything on there, because you don't really know how much it's like a teeter-totter, right? It's like you don't really know, oh, you threw too much on there. Now everything else in your life is basically sidelined because you've bit off more than you can chew with this endeavor. And then what happens is then you have to make a choice. It's like, okay, well then do I sacrifice my normalcy of my life, or do I sacrifice my hobby or whatever? And a lot of times what people happen is that they just sacrifice the hobby altogether. And they say, okay, I'm done. And I've had that happen to me in the past many times. Let me straighten this out. But I don't want that to happen with this. So I'm trying to figure out ways to tweak it. I'm trying to find out ways to make it better, to maybe add more onto it while not putting too much onto where it starts to encroach on other things, which I think is kind of what it was doing. I was editing like a ton, man. And I if you notice, there was no clips this week. I'm gonna try and get some of those clipped up, but I was really on a regimented schedule of Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And it was taking up a lot of my time to where I wasn't really doing much else. It was just like work, editing, stream, work, editing, stream. And I'm like, I can't keep going like this. I have to change something up. So now I'm like, maybe the clips will be a little more sporadic. They'll come out. I think I also would like to maybe focus on editing better, things like that, where it's not just, I'm not just pumping out the clips. It's going to be, maybe it'll be more like I'm focusing harder on one edit rather than a lot, right? Kind of like quality over quantity. I thought about maybe I should start trying that out. I also thought maybe I should go back to making actual like recorded shit too. That's another thing. I thought maybe I could do that. That's another way I could maybe integrate into my stream. But then I've also talked about for a long time doing a midweek stream. And I think, okay, I could probably manage that like on a Tuesday nights at like 5 or 6, do like an hour or two stream. I could probably swing that. So I'm thinking I want to try and either do that or start doing edited videos where I'm just talking, where it's about whatever I'm kind of dwelling on, thinking about. I don't know, but I do know I don't want to tack on too much shit, bite off more than I can chew, and then find out, I can't do that. I can't do that right now. So I don't know, but that's just stuff to think about. That's kind of brewing in the back of my mind on what I want to do. I do want to split up if I'm talking about something a little more heavy, split that off from the drama bullshit, late night, late night this week in the grift world, in the grift scene. Why does it say 15 followers? That was X. Vitamin D is good. I don't have, vitamin D. I'm sitting inside in a dark room, actually. I see 308. Right. Thank you. Thank you. AA990 needs to get his glasses checked. Needs to get his eyes looked at. Yeah, vitamin D is good. And I've been getting decent vitamin D. It's just my apartment. I did get the AC situation kind of handled in my room. Kind of Jimmy rig something. But elsewhere, there is no AC still. So there's no AC right now where I'm at. So that's why I got the fan on. So if you guys hear like a whirring or a buzzing or something in the background, please tell me. Please say, hey, idiot. Idiot, turn that off. I can barely hear what you're saying. But Adorable Waffle says it's good. She says she doesn't hear shit. So that's good. That's very good. But how's everybody been? It's been good. I've been having a good time. I've been having a good week. Thank God it's Friday. It's felt so weird, man. It's felt weird. Like, time seems to be like very slow. It seems to be very slow in the day. But then at the same time, it seems like it's going really fast because when I think about what the hell did I do last weekend? And I go, oh, that's what I did. Oh my gosh, that seemed like it was so long ago. But it was only like 6 days ago. And you're like, concept of time is just, I don't know. I actually deleted X on my phone. I still have it on the desktop, obviously, because I'm on it right now. But I deleted it on my phone. I wonder, and sometimes I think, I wonder if that has anything to do with my conception of time. I deleted it probably early in the week, probably like Monday or Tuesday. I just was getting so just sick and tired of it. And I think that I also don't have Facebook. I don't have Instagram either. So really it's just like, I don't even know, like emails. Emails. I do have Reddit on there, but I don't ever use it. But I'm afraid that I might. I'm afraid that I might, find an outlet. I need to scroll. I must scroll, right? I have no patience and I must scroll. I have no X and I must scroll. And so I don't have that, honestly, because I'm taking it, integrating it by steps. Because for a while there, I was talking about, I just want to get a flip phone and just say, screw the smartphone altogether. And I'm like, no, you should also do what I just said about integrating, adding on in incremental steps. You should also do that in reverse as well, taking away in incremental steps, especially something as fundamental as your cell phone. So I'm like, you know what? Let me try this first. Let me see if this helps anything. Let me see if this solves anything. Because I've been really feeling like just smooth brained lately. Like the last couple weeks, I've just been feeling really smooth brain and just jittery and just not focused. And I know I'm not the only one. I know a lot of the people have been saying that too. And I think it's because of the constant scrolling, the constant feed. And it's been making me really frustrated with technology as a whole, but my phone specifically. And that's why I said I want to get rid of it and get a flip phone. But I thought, no, let me get rid of X on my phone for now. We'll keep it on the desktop because it's not always on. It's not always with me. It's not every second that I get downtime. It honestly was like, it would be like a spell, man. It was actually like crazy with the scrolling, whether it was Facebook, Instagram, X. Like, I would just find myself like, oh, I'm at work and somebody texts me about work things and I would respond and then I would hit home and there would be the icons on the bottom of my screen and I would just click on one, like not even thinking, just like click on it, muscle memory, and just start scrolling. And the next thing you know, this is a video drone, like completely fixed, completely rage baited, completely just absorbed into it. And oh, next thing I know, 15, 20 minutes goes by. Where did that time go? And so some of this, I think, is my concept of time being kind of affected by the lack of the scrolling. I still have YouTube as well. That's something I did keep. Again, I don't necessarily I think there are problems with having YouTube on, but they're not quite the same. Like I think listening to something all day can be problematic. Having something in your ear, not kind of being in your own, not being able to think, not being able to just be silent and still, I think is a problem. But I think that's a lesser problem than scrolling, and then doing both, right? Scrolling and listening to YouTube. Oh my gosh. I was doing that too quite a bit. Not good. But I think some of that has to do with the kind of concept of time, because you get absorbed into the phone and you're scrolling, and the next thing you know, 20, 30 minutes goes by because your attention has just been completely absorbed by the scrolling. And in some sense, it makes time fly. You know, you're just kind of like passively just existing in this trance on the timeline. But now I've gotten rid of it. Now it seems like time's slowing down a little bit, which is good, which I think is actually a good thing. People don't like that. They're trying to speed run to death. I know, we're trying to speed run to the grave. I get it, people. I get it. The dually pickup behind me going when I'm already going 25 over the speed limit. I get it. You got to go. You got to get to where you're going. Screw it. Screw the journey. I'm going to the grave. Let's go as fast as possible. But I don't want that. I don't like that. I think I want to slow things down a little bit. Uh-oh. Freeing up storage space. All right, I'll get right on that. Live on stream. Guys, I'm going to start to clear out my hard drive. But I think then also with the lack of scrolling, it's opened up more of an opportunity for me to read more, which I had not been reading the last couple months. And so I've been reading. I was given a book from somebody from church, gave me Orthodoxy and Religion of the Future, and I've been speed running that. Basically done with it. I'm adamant. I'm trying to get it done by Sunday so I can return it to him. But it's a very good book. And it's like, because I don't have I'm not sitting there in bed scrolling all day because it's not really there. Although, obviously I could go download it, but I'm just that buried entry is enough. And so it's given me, I think, more of an opening to read a book or read whatever, something else, which I think has been very good too. But yeah, so the content, like I said, all this has been farmed by me on my desktop. Interesting stuff going on. You do feel out of the loop. I'll say that too. You do feel kind of out of the loop. You kind of feel like, what's going on out there? God, I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, you go and look at it and you're like, well, here it is. I guess I'll do a recap on the stream. The recap's also for me to a degree with what's going on in the grift sphere. But it's like, do I need this shit on me all the time? Do I need to know what's going on with these people all the time? No, maybe just Friday nights, maybe just here and there, maybe a little bit. It's fine. Yeah, you don't need to be on that much. I think that concept too of being able to step away from it is huge. It's a huge concept. The relationship you have with the technology, you as a human approaching it, utilizing it as a tool, and putting it down back in its place where it belongs. That's huge. And so many times on my phone, and I bet you other people can agree with this. It's like, so many times it wasn't that I wasn't like looking for something. I wasn't like getting on my phone for something. I was getting on my phone to get to like find something to do. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like there wasn't a reason. I wasn't getting on my phone for something that somebody that there was a text communication, something going on for work. There's a lot of times where it wasn't that I had something to do on it. It's that I was looking for something to do. You know what I mean? And that is just like, dude, that right there removes you from your life, the real world, so fast. Because then you don't make it. You don't make your life. You don't make your decisions. It's just kind of all in the internet sphere, and it's always with you. It's a trance. It really is a trance. That was a great way to put it. But yeah, I can now approach it. I now am acting as though I'm approaching it, like we are tonight, and I will walk away from it, and that'll be that. The endless scrolling specifically is so bad. It is so bad. YouTube has its own problems, but the endless scrolling itself, I thank God too that I never really was that much on TikTok. I've had people who have tried to get me on TikTok. I never really was like a Reels guy. Every once in a while I would go on a reel run and I would be like scrolling for a minute, but it was never like, there's some people who get on their phone and that's all they do. It's like Instagram Reels or TikToks or whatever, and that's all they do is just scroll the quick dopamine hit videos. And thank God I was never like, that was not my experience. Mine was mostly, I mean, I guess scrolling the timeline on X is pretty much the same thing, but a little different, I think. It's a little different. You're the only reason why I'm on YouTube. Oh, thank you. What about a midweek book club? Yes, I know. That's what I was thinking of doing because, you know, I really feel like I need another person to hold me accountable. That's one of the things I really do feel like with this book I borrowed from my fellow parishioner at church. I told him, hold my feet to the flame. Say, I really need that book back. I really need it back, bud. You better get it to me soon because I'm like, that will actually give me the impetus to go and read it and get it done quickly. Otherwise, I'll read half of it and set it down and I'll forget about it. And like I've done that with so many books. And that's not good either. But if you give me a reason, if you actually push my ass and say you better do it or I'm going to beat you up, then I'll do it. And that's why I think if I do a midweek book club, I'd like to do it with someone where, you know, you got to give me some ample time because I can barely read, okay? Because my reading skills are chopped as fuck because of the scrolling. Yeah, aforementioned scrolling. My reading skills are really bad. You got to give me a little time, okay? But if I do that, I would like to do it with somebody to where we could discuss takeaways and whatnot. So I'm thinking I would like to do that, but I would like to find somebody to do it with, where you can do one, you know, maybe like every few weeks or so, every month. I don't know, something. That would be cool because they would hold me accountable, right? They would be like, hey, you gotta do it. I guess maybe the stream itself could hold me accountable. I don't know. I'm kind of just riffing here. The stream people would be like, oh, where's the book? Where's the book recommend it or read or whatever? You know, Ludwig would love that, right? Ludwig, where have you been, bud? Ludwig, if you can hear us. I was given the invention of Morel for my birthday. Ludwig. I'm thinking that's going to be my next book to read. It's really small, too. It's not that long. So hopefully that one will be my next one I read. But I have a host of other ones that I want to read as well. Anyways. Ever pinch a book to enlarge the pictures? No, I've never done that. And does it take you away from something better? Yes, exactly. Exactly. Is that your whole life is then kind of absorbed into this passerby, this portal that you're the nonstop dopamine. You're just absorbed into it, that you don't actually affect real change in the real world, in your own life. That absolutely is true. TikTok is so cursed, so true. I never get my books back. That's because the person put it down and they forgot to read it again. Okay? That's why you got to hold their feet to the flame. Hey, bro, where's my book? Did you finish it? It was really good. You better finish it. You better finish that shit before you give it back. But I also want you to give it back kind of quickly. Okay? That's what you need to say to them. You need to finish it and tell me about it and talk to me about it. But at the same time, it needs to be kind of fast. Okay? I've got shit to do. And then that person might be like, you know what? All right. At least that's how I work. Even though he's totally not being like that at church. He's totally not. He's like, no, man, take it for as long as you want. I'm like, no, don't do that. Tell me that you need it back. Tell me you need it for somebody else. Maybe one Wednesday a month on your channel, we discuss books. Yep. And then Ludwig, we'll need to get the return of Ludwig in here. Because that was his shit. He loved it. I don't think he liked the kind of drama stuff that much, or the conspiracy. Well, maybe the conspiracy stuff. I think he kind of liked the technology stuff we talked about. But anyways, I don't know. Just stuff to think about. Let's move along, shall we? Let's get into some of the content. TMZ posts a video from the Department of War, a new stunning UFO-related videos released by the Pentagon. So let's check this out. Dear Lord, that's loud. What am I looking at here? This just looks like a time lapse of the moon or something. What even is this? I've been really on an alien kick lately. I'm going to go see Disclosure Day tomorrow. I've been seeing some pretty negative reviews about it. Mixed reviews. I mean, it depends on who you ask. My sister saw it. She said it was really good. I don't even know if she said it was good. She said it was interesting, thought-provoking. She wanted to hear my take on it, that kind of shit. Other people in spheres I frequent online say it was absolute garbage, boomer, slop propaganda, which I think is probably what I'm going to think about it as well. I think the whole alien phenomena has been largely paradigm level propaganda. It is a reframing and a lens with which we can view spiritual demonic forces. Because for thousands of years, Christians, but really you could say religions in general, would have viewed these entities as being part, but it would have been part of the spiritual realm. But up until recently, we've rationalized everything. We've boiled it down to materialism, to our senses, towards what we can observe, what we can measure. And the alien phenomena falls right into that, and it's kind of like a rationalist religion. And they keep it like this bullshit. I mean, what is all this? This is just a bunch of crap, right? It's just a bunch of kabuki. But they keep it, you keep you right on the edge. Oh. Because they want you to be in kind of a state of mystery, right? In a state of kind of one foot in, one foot out, never actually showing or telling us the real truth of the matter. I mean, even with the way they released the UAP files, it was like, well, we can neither confirm nor deny, but here you go. And then Trump's posting a bunch of stuff, and it's like, and then one person could be like, well, just because he's posting goofy stuff doesn't mean he's affirming it. And it's like, yeah, that's how they want to keep us, right? That's how they want to keep us. They want to keep you in this lulled state of longing and wanting and looking up at the stars, hoping and praying for your savior, and not actually focused on, I think, what's happening here, what's happening on Earth, in your own personal life. It's all, your mind's always out there. And at the same time, they can use it. They could utilize it if they ever needed to, like we've seen with the Ronald Reagan clip, like we've seen Project Bluebeam. They could potentially be like, well, if enough people believe it, I think they're surveying us, right? They're surveying people. They want to see how many people actually buy this shit, bite it, actually believe in it. And I think if they get enough people, they could turn the switch in a moment and be like, look, guys, it's an alien UFO invasion. And I had a theory. I was thinking, okay, that was weird. I had a theory too. I was thinking about the Charlie Kirk assassination. And one of the things I was thinking about is, I was relating it back to COVID, and I was saying, COVID, I remember people talking about COVID was basically a nothing burger. Really nothing happened. Like nothing really happened. But what did happen was it was a psychological test, kind of to see how people would go along with a large scale event, global event, how many people would buy into it, how many people would follow it, what the reaction would be, how it would maybe line up along demographic lines, political, racial, age, whatever. And I think they probably took away a lot of information. The psychologists, they took away a lot of information on how we react to something like that. And then I was thinking about the Charlie Kirk incident, and I said, what if, and I'm not positing this as to be the case, okay? It's alleged speculation and hearsay and just a bunch of bullshit, right? But what if the Charlie Kirk assassination was AI, right? People floated that when it happened. And it wasn't really even about him. It wasn't really about politics either. It was about, can we get away with this in broad daylight? Not assassinating him, but posting a video of a quote unquote assassination, AI assassination, and we just kind of pump it out there, and the algorithms nonstop are going to show it to you. And you're going to go and you're going to talk about it amongst your friend groups. I brought it up to people at work, and they said, yeah, I heard something about that. And then it doesn't even really matter if it really happened or not, because once you do that and you kind of affirm it, you kind of speak it into existence, it's real. And it's like, I wonder if there's like, oh, can we see, this is a test to see how the public will react to an AI generated video. And maybe could we do something like this again in the future? I don't know. Something like that. Something where I thought about, crazy schizo. It's not schizo hours yet, but I thought about that, They could just post these videos all the time. Get all the pundits to talk about it nonstop. Get the algorithms to pump out the video nonstop. Have people have the whole shebang, have the WWE funeral, do all this stuff. And people just buy into it. Like the moon landing. That's what people say about the moon landing too, right? Exactly. And it kind of just becomes real just by the mere fact we talk about it. Doesn't actually, the reality of it doesn't really, none of that shit matters. So something like a Project Bluebeam event would just be, it would be everywhere on the timeline, right? It would be nonstop on every timeline all the time, pumping into our faces 24/7. The speed, the amount, just people talking about it, just like Charlie Kirk. Maybe they, I don't know, blow some shit up in real life, and we're just like, oh, and that's that. That's what it is. That's the thing now. That's what it is. But even, you know, if something like that happens, like, real or not, what are you supposed to do the next day? Are you supposed to get up and go to work? Like, you're just supposed to be like, hey, did you see that alien shit on the news? Yeah, that's kind of weird, man. Did you see Chlorgog in the White House? He was, what the hell was he doing there? Did you see Morthog in the in the Senate? Wow, what's going on there? You see, they blew up the new ballroom. They blew it up with space lasers. Wasn't that crazy? Yeah. Anyways, you getting lunch today? I think I'm feeling Chipotle. I guess I don't really know how we're supposed to react to that. I mean, how do we react to the Charlie Kirk thing? I guess it's just one guy, but like a global event. I guess like COVID is that we really did stop people from going to places. We really did stop going to work. We really did these things. And it doesn't, you know, that's the thing about COVID too, is that it doesn't even have to be readily apparent in your face. Right? Because COVID was invisible bacteria, virus, whatever, you know. So it's like you don't even have to see it. But as long as the professional class is telling you and feeding you it, then you'll just kind of buy into it. And as long as your jobs and your workplaces affirm it, then it's like, what's the difference? What's the difference between falsity and truth? You have to act. You have to act. I mean, is that what Tim Dillon said recently on one of his streams? It was like, we're going to be in the fucking FEMA camps and we're not even going to buy the fake alien invasion. We're going to say, what the fuck, man? I don't even believe this shit. It doesn't matter. You're there. You guys are there. Okay. Spielberg was a part of Lex Wexner's close. He was part, yeah, the mega group. Yep, we've talked about that many times. Les Wexner started the mega group. Steven Spielberg was a part of it. Very close with Epstein. Very Israel-friendly group. Interesting stuff. Plus, that's like Spielberg's claim to fame is like alien movies. We just watched Close Encounters of a Third Kind last weekend. Honestly, I like that movie. I actually like that movie. Better than that trash 2001. Get out of here with that crap. But 2001 kind of kicked it off, right? 2001 kicked it off. It was the coupling the, you know, Kenneth Arnold and George Adamski and these sightings in the 40s and these reports kind of went up to the 60s, you know, well, they've been going, but you take it up to the 60s and you have these movies that are talking about it. You have 2001 that's positing a new narrative about the creation of man and humanity and how we got to where we are. That's like, it's creating a whole new narrative, panspermia narrative. Ooh. And then from there, it just keeps on moving. It's just a man-made religion paradigm on which you can view these things. I think I'm going to trust the 2,000-plus-year-old paradigm and listen to what they have to say, rather than the, you know, 100-year-old crackpot hippie smoking crack, smoking DMT theories. The sanest among us are schizos now. So true, King of Sheba. Also, King of Sheba, I did not appreciate you talking shit about Dick in the chat, in the comments on my last stream, okay? Not cool, man. He did fine. It was very impromptu, okay? I pulled him out of his bed, basically. I begged him, come up here. And he did. He graciously came up on the stream and chatted with us for a good long time. So let's all chill. Let's all be cool, okay? Dick does not do the streams to the same degree we do, okay? He's not on here every Friday. I think it was a good conversation. So cool it with the anti-Dick remarks, okay? Maybe we need to get back to making our own world smaller. Yeah. I think, yeah, that's kind of like one of my pieces of philosophy, like kind of like this, you know, one of the takeaways you should have when you're watching me is I believe in the principle of subsidiarity and the immediacy of your own life, the imminence of reality, your own experience. And constantly we're always on the periphery, thinking about things far off in the distance. And it, you know, some of those things seep in to your personal life, like the Iran war, gas prices. Okay, the price of, you know, inflation, the price of stuff. Okay, that's actually really impacting me personally. And that is something that's way far away. But you as a person, when we're talking about these high level abstractions, man, you have very little to go off of to actually know if these things are true. Like we just said with COVID, we have very little to go off of to whether or not we knew that was going to be something real or not. Basically just word of our elites. They just kind of told us, or something like global warming, climate change, whatever. Like these things are so far. It's like, do we even really know? How can you even verify that it's hotter this summer than last summer? What the hell does that mean? But it gives you something to blame. Oh, look at the snow. This is global warming. This is climate change. Look at that. It's like, okay. And what's the reason for that? It's humans and we need to depopulate and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, what? You're going off of a kind of speculation based on what these people posit. So it gets murky. It gets murkier and murkier the further away you get from yourself and your own experiences in your own world. It gets very murky. And like I said, sometimes it's true and it does seep into your personal life, but a lot of times it's fucking bullshit, okay? A lot of times it's bullshit. A lot of times. I think most of the time it is. Because these people, one quick thought is that, one last thought on that, is these people who do focus on this stuff all the time, they're not, you know, you're not Zbigniew Brzezinski, okay? You're not thinking about the breadbasket of the world. You're not thinking about, you know, Ukraine and, you know, the rim theory and whatnot. You're not thinking about these high-level geopolitical things that are really abstracted from you. And then, you know, actually utilizing the government to enact these changes. You're not in that position, and you never will be. Okay, you're not Henry Kissinger, my guy. You don't work for the CFR. You don't work for the Trilateral Commission. That's just not you. You just do not have that ability. So you're sitting here thinking on a level that they're thinking of. And again, it's not, you can kind of, it's not terrible to keep an eye on these people, but when that is your whole life and that's all you're thinking about is these things on the periphery all the way, which you have no way to actually utilize and put into your real life, your real life starts to suffer in a lot of ways. People are usually, you know, like the communists who read Marx all day, you know, you're usually poor. You're usually a loser. You usually don't have strong relationships with your parents or your family. You really usually, a lot of them don't have good social skills. It's like, maybe you need to focus on that. Maybe, you know, you're overweight. Maybe you need to focus on that first before you're thinking about this high level political theory. Because you're not Zbigniew Brzezinski, okay? Sorry. He's in a position to think about it. You're not. And I'm not advocating for, these people. I'm just saying that, yeah, they sit there and think about this stuff. And they're fast tracked to do it. That's not you. LOL, it's chill. I can take it. Yeah, I just got to stick up for it. This is hard, man. This is hard getting up here and talking. I don't need some, King of Sheba. He's a longtime viewer. I appreciate him, but come on, man. We don't need that. My friend wore a gorilla suit in the woods and a drone caught him on camera. The video was uploaded to YouTube and someone started saying it was Bigfoot. What? You are actively making the psyop. Bro. AA990 is a psyop maker. People are easy. Absolutely. I find it hard to believe that they could do that COVID thing again. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm just saying, again, what if the Charlie Kirk theory that I just said was true? What if it was AI? Then they're looking at it and going, these people are idiots. These people are dumb. They just went through the COVID thing and they accepted that lock, stock, and barrel. Now we're on a smaller scale doing it again with the Charlie Kirk thing. If that, let's just run off if that's true. Now we're doing it on a small scale with him. People are easy. It's interesting. Alexandra, good to see you in chat. Anyways, let's move along. That was a little bit of a detour. Elon Musk. First trillionaire in history. Elon Musk. We all knew it was coming. I mean, he was at like 800 billion a couple months ago, and I was just like, okay, well, he's like 50 or something, right? He's probably going to get it before he dies. So he was on his way. But let's check this out. He's got an emotional message on humanity's future.
The Dow Industrials are up 285. Okay, Musk is speaking right now. Have we got the sound? Listen in, please.
Going public for with the largest IPO that ever. And let me tell you, if people had told me this was going to happen, I was like, man, you must be smoking some really good crack, because I think this company's going to fail. I mean, I gave SpaceX less than a 10% chance of succeeding at all.
So humble.
In fact, I told people this. I said, look, we're probably going to fail, but we should give it a try, because if we don't, if there's not a new company that enters space, we will never be a truly spacefaring civilization. While the other aerospace companies, they build good rockets and everything, they were simply not pursuing the technology that's necessary to make life multiplanetary.
What the hell is NASA doing then?
To make Star Trek, to make...
If NASA's supposed to be this institution for space, and he's saying they weren't doing anything, what the fuck? What does all our tax money go to, bro? What the fuck?
The exciting science fiction futures that we've read about, real. And that's what SpaceX is all about, is to take the fiction out of science fiction and create an exciting, inspiring future for everyone.
This doesn't even look real.
Be able to take
weird,
anyone
man.
who wants to go to the moon, anyone who wants to go to Mars, or anyone in the solar system, and maybe beyond the solar system at some point. We want to be able to take you there. Not just a few astronauts. I mean, you, literally you. If you watch, whoever you are watching this, SpaceX wants to be able to take you to the moon, take you to Mars, and ultimately beyond. And I'm confident at this point that with the incredible team that we have here at SpaceX, that we will do that for you.
He's like a god.
I always think about this. There are always problems on Earth. There are always problems on Earth. There are always things that we wish to be better, that we want to solve here on Earth, and we should solve them. But there also have to be things that get you excited about the future, that make you glad to wake up in the morning, because you can't wait to see what happens next. And that's the future that SpaceX wants to bring to you. Yeah.
Please clap. Please clap. Is anybody really excited about the future? I feel like everybody I talk about is a doomer. Everybody I ever talk to, younger generations, they're totally checked out. I think rich people are probably excited about this. Do your little jumping thing, bro. This guy in the front. Come on. Come on, guys. Music's kind of ominous. This old guy. Hey, what am I doing here? What's going on? I was told there'd be hot dogs. I don't know what the fuck.
Well, ain't that something?
Where's
All of
Betty?
those people at Starbase.
Where's Betty? Where's my wife? Take him away. She died 20 years ago. Come on, let's get you a hot dog. Yeah, I don't know, man. Are you guys excited about this? Chat, are you guys excited about this? I just feel like I don't even, I don't care, dude. I don't give a shit. And it's just so funny that wealth inequality is like rapidly increasing. The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And we talk about COVID. COVID was one of the things that really sparked that. Wall Street boomed while Main Street basically crashed. And that's like, okay, this guy, it's just the symbolism. It's just the irony. This guy is now a trillionaire and he's talking about you all getting excited to get up in the morning. Maybe. I don't know, man. I'm a little worried about that $5 gas. I'm excited about possibly going to space. Not really. Yeah. You want to go to space? I would do it, but like, dude, how much does it cost now to do that? And you're telling me I'm going to be able to do that soon? It's got to be for, you know, the low price of like $350. I'm a poron. Listen, I'm a poron. It's got to be affordable, man. But they're not even close to that shit. This is like, it plays in part with that same idea, with the alien idea. The whole space paradigm, the whole interplanetary travel paradigm plays in part with the alien mythos. Because, I mean, he even referenced that where he's like, we have a lot of problems here, but doesn't this just give you a reason to live? Doesn't this just give you something to get out of bed every morning and brush your teeth and get back to the steel mill and shut the fuck up, Wagey? Doesn't this give you a sense of we're doing something? And so it's like so what you're trying to do is you're trying to give us a destination. Your destination. Let's be honest, your destination. Because if my destination is to just have a family and own a home and not live paycheck to paycheck, how does this play into any of that? Well, it doesn't. Well, it doesn't. Now shut up and get back to work. And your tax dollars will keep coming to me. Those government contracts will keep coming my way because this is what I want. And I've wanted this for my whole life, and you better want it too. Okay, fine. Do your stupid bullshit. Whatever. I'm not even sure it's a motivation for rich people. I know. The possibility of the ultra rich going to space is supposed to motivate the wages is really stupid. I know he made sure to say that. It's not us going there. It's you going there too. Please keep going to work and paying your taxes, please. Yes, Elon. Yes, Mr. Trillionaire. Oh, I can barely afford eggs and gas, but yes, we will fuel your dreams, Elon. Whatever you want, sir. Just don't kill me. Just don't sick the AI drones on me and my children. Oh my gosh. This is great. This is something to behold. This is wonderful. This is like caviar. Don't you want the elite? Don't you want the rich to eat their caviar? Come on, man. Come on, bro. I'm pretty sure before I got on stream, I heard a shootout, by the way. Up the road, I heard 4 shots. And then I heard a police cruiser fly by, and then I heard 4 more shots from a different gun. And I'm sitting there taking a shit, and I'm like, man, I really hope we make it to Mars this year. I really hope we make it to Mars, boys. I really hope we can make it. I really hope SpaceX does well on the stock market. I really hope their IPO went good. I'm sorry. I'm too cynical. Listen, I'm too cynical. Maybe I'm just too cynical. But it's just like the more technology, more controlled environment, more surveillance, more automation, less humans. Yes, more annihilation of your brain, more annihilation of morality, more annihilation of humanity, of community, of autonomy, of art. Yes, more. Like, was Elon trying to say the excitement of humanity's advancements is enough to motivate any wagey? Like, what the heck? Yeah, we're all doing our part. You one cog at a time. You're doing your part. Some corporation will convince some people to sell their house and buy a ticket to outer space. Yeah, dude, true. Trade in your house for 1 ticket to Mars. Go see what it was like. Go see what it's like to hang out on Mars for 25 minutes. Sell your house today to BlackRock. Just call 1-800-THINK for your ride to Mars today. They just put you in a vessel and they just shake it for 10 minutes and they're like, you're here. And you step out and you're in fucking Nevada. Whoa. Whoa, dude. I really hope we make it to Mars this year. Blam, 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 blam. Yeah, exactly. Jacob, is Trump out of touch with the American people? Dude, I don't even know. I haven't even been following what's going on with him lately. Yeah, I would say he's out of, I don't even actually know. Because it feels like, again, during the first administration, it feels like he was in touch with the American people. It even felt like leading up to the second administration, he was in touch with the American people. And then you get into office and it's complete, you know, you gotta pay back the bankers. You gotta pay back the people who bankrolled you. And that's gonna take up 4 years to do. It's like, okay. So I don't even know how out of touch he is. I mean, yeah, like, I guess maybe him as an 80, 90-year-old, whatever how old he is, businessman, yeah, probably out of touch. But like his administration and his campaign, I don't necessarily know if they are out of touch. I think now that they're in power, it's just like meat's back on the menu, boys, and they can do whatever they want. All right, we're going to move along. We got Andrew Wilson here. The Return of Nala Ray. I've not seen this clip, okay? So bear with me. But this is Nala Ray hosts Phoenix and Cody of Eden Ministries, two crackpot deliverance ministers who do paid sessions over Zoom, including for her and her husband. They say they're like seers, like Daniel, Elijah, or Peter, and see Jesus all the time. This is a dark road for all. It says, what to expect from our sessions. We do sessions over Zoom. Each session will be recorded as it's a lot of information to take in. The only people with access to the recording will be Eden, you, and whoever you decide to share the link to the recording with. Initial session takes 2 hours. During the session, we will both pray over you. Over Zoom? How does that work? How do you pray over somebody on Zoom? We make it overly clear we only pray and talk to God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. It is only through him that we can do what we do, and Phoenix does not talk to anything else he sees. Bro. I saw an angel of light. That's gotta be God. That's gotta be the Holy Spirit. Oh, buddy. All the information he receives is directly from the Holy Spirit. Because of how Phoenix gifting works, this is much different than any other deliverance, as we do not need to ever talk to or interrogate any of the spirits affecting you like they have to in most deliverances, because they cannot clearly see what is going on spiritually. Because we do not even speak to the spirits or give them a platform. It is extremely rare for our clients to experience any demonic manifestations during our deliverance sessions. Extremely rare. So it has happened. It has happened. As Phoenix prays over you, the Holy Spirit will show him any spirits, demons, or entities that are attached to you, feeding off of you, draining you, spying on you, or affecting you in any other aspect of your life. Phoenix will also be able to see curses, spells, or witchcraft. He will also be able to see anything being passed down one of your bloodlines. Then, one by one, we will rebuke them in the name of Jesus Christ. Until there is absolutely nothing left affecting you. Dude, this is crackpot. This is crackpot, like Pentecostal, like insane baptism of the Holy Spirit shit. As Phoenix gifting only works by Holy Spirit choosing to show him whatever God deems necessary, we cannot guarantee anything during the portions of the session. Sometimes nothing will happen. However, usually God will reveal to Phoenix what virtues and characteristics he designed you around as well, and what angels he has assigned to you in order to enhance those virtues. Wow. How much is a session? I'm gonna do one every week for the low payment of $899.99. You can be exercised. He usually also reveals at least one spiritual gift he has given you, as well as any anointings you may have over your life. This is also usually when God will give Phoenix any messages he wants you to know as well. Due to the nature of God in spiritual warfare, there are certain situations that require deviation from this outline, and we cannot guarantee that your session will perfectly follow the outline above. It is the Holy Spirit leading the session. No refunds. They said, no refunds. Pay in advance. Cashier's check accepted. So Nala is on here. Dude, look at this. I paused it. Look at her face. It looks crooked. Dude, you guys see that? Her face looks demented right there. That looks crazy. But Nala goes on this, has these two guys on. And Andrew Wilson says, so many people owe me an apology. I saw right through it all in one conversation. Many of you sewing circle Christians have terrible instincts. Yeah, I mean, we said this months ago. This girl, Nala Ray, who was on OnlyFans doing the whole e-girl carousel, if you will, one day just decides, you know what? I don't think I want to do this anymore. I need a new grift. What's in right now? What's the in thing? And she sees Paula White on Fox News doing her hooting and hollering, and she goes, that's it. A Christian grift. That's it. Perfect. And so she gets baptized by, I don't even know, it could be just a homeless man on the side of the road. And the next thing you know, she's saying, listen, guys, I am now an expert, and I have a course that I'm going to sell you for $10. Or maybe it was $5. Regardless, she's trying to sell you her course with her husband. And we're supposed to sit there and be like, yeah, she's an authoritative figure on spiritual matters and doctrine in the church. I saw it immediately, and I'm like, this is snake oil salesman grift, okay? I mean, people have been doing this shit forever. You try and find what's in, what's the crowd, what a lot of people are, and you jump aboard that, and you say, yep, that's me. That's what I'm doing. There's been other girls who have done the same thing. I don't know if they've done ministry stuff though, but they'll do the podcast gambit, the podcast tour. Well, they'll go on all the podcasts and then they'll start their own podcast and they'll say, I was saved. And it's like lowest common denominator, like where it's like, what church do you belong to again? Well, it's the church my husband started. It's called Living Waters Ministry, and it's based out of San Antonio. It's like, what do you guys believe in? We believe in nothing but Jesus Christ. Where'd you come from again? And it's like it's just, there is no barrier to entry. It's just, we are now, and we have just deemed ourselves authority over scripture and over this 2,000-year faith. Nobody here's theologians. Nobody here. And it's like, to me, it's like, of course. How can anybody not see that? Of course that's a grift. Of course. It's like the Kool-Aid grift all over again. Who is that again? What's his name? Starting his own ministry, getting people all whipped up and riled up, taking them down south and say, here you go, drink the Kool-Aid. And it's like, well, you were just like a crazy person. And you just were like convincing enough. You played on people's doubts and fears and their faith ultimately in God. Misdirected faith, but there was a faith there. And then you took it and you channeled it into yourself and you led these people astray. Not good. But anyways, let's see what these people have to say.
too.
Yeah.
It ties directly into what you're doing.
Yeah.
So,
And I let him explain mine because I don't like talking about myself. It's weird.
So I have the ability to see in the spirit realm, just like a lot of people could in the Bible.
Right,
They
right.
are in the Bible. They are called seers, and so that's a title a lot of people call me and stuff. Just like Samuel in the Bible, he was able to see things all the time and stuff. Amos is another one. Amos, I always say that name wrong. People
almost.
confirm me that. Yeah,
I was like,
Amos.
who's that?
Amos, whatever.
Whatever,
Ezekiel
dude.
could also see in the spirit realm. Elijah,
don't read that shit anyways.
Daniel, Peter, John. All these people. It's always the same people having encounters with angels and stuff because they could see it.
Yeah.
And so it's something I just have always been able to do since I was little. Like I don't even know what it's like to not. So how I see Jesus in the spirit realm during some sessions or sometimes during at church or something, like he'll make an appearance. Like I see his light in every single believer in Christ. And especially when I'm doing deliverance sessions and he shows me the courts of heaven where we're going and he's standing there for the person I'm praying for in the courtrooms of heaven. He always just looks like a man made out of pure golden light where I can't even, he's so bright I can't even make
angel
out
of
any
light?
facial features
Wow.
or anything like that. It looks like a man made of pure golden, this liquid golden light.
And the reason that he sees it like
It
that
looks
as
like-
well
it's like
is,
Velveeta cheese.
There's other seers, right?
It's like liquid
have all seen
gold.
Jesus is a very common thing. They see him a little bit differently. Some people could see him as like a man because that's
Right.
just the way their brain works.
Yeah.
That's the way he presents himself to them. The way that he sees things, we've come to learn, is the embodiment of whatever that thing is. So that
And so Cody's gift of prophetic wisdom, like even when I look at him spiritually,
which we
it's-
just did a video
yeah.
about this.
But like it's like he doesn't even have like a scalp. It's almost like he's scalpless in the spirit realm, and his brain is just like the way I see the Holy
Hanging
Spirit
out?
is always just like this bluish white fire, like it's literally just ablaze in your entire cavity of your chest right now. Same with Cody and stuff, but his is also like in his brain, and it's
Dude, I don't know if it's just me, but like, I don't know. I would not take spiritual guidance from a dude with the Gen Z haircut and big diamond earrings on. I just, to me, that's just totally offensive. That's just totally like, oh yeah, I totally, dude, I'm lapping up everything you're saying, bro. This is one of the things I've been reading that book, Orthodoxy and Religion of the Future, and he has a big part in that book, like a good chunk of it is about the charismatic Pentecostal movement. Honestly, I want to reread it because it's really in depth where he goes through all these different people having these experiences where, pouring out of the Holy Spirit, and they have a baptism in the Holy Spirit and they're speaking in tongues and they're riling around and they're doing all these like expressive, emotivist kind of experience. They're having these experiences. And he gets really in depth with this idea of prelest, which is spiritual delusion. And he says that spiritual delusion can happen in two different ways. One, they said it can be like an imaginary delusion to where you actually do hear and see things, like maybe what this guy's talking about, where you kind of whip yourself up into this kind of mentality or into this kind of emotional fervor that you actually do start to hallucinate. And that they say that a lot of the Pentecostal people in these big crowds who are chanting and doing these kind of crazy wild activities, that they probably are having, a lot of them are having that reaction. And the second way they said is a more subtle way, which is like you feel as though you're chosen. You feel as though you have like spiritual gifts that maybe don't necessarily manifest, but because you feel that way, you don't live a life of repentance. You don't live a life of submission to Christ, to God, to the church, to authority. And it becomes a sense of pride. And it's like these two different ways of this is prelest, two different kind of spiritual delusions that can occur. And one of the great points he makes in the book is that he says, if you have one of the first elements of prelest, the first one, the imagination, the kind of psychological phenomena, he actually believes that there are beings, spiritual beings that are coming to you. So when this guy says, I saw a being of light, well, one of the questions he asks is like, well, how do you know that is the Holy Spirit? How do you discern? You just will accept it on face value and say, well, it's a spirit of light. Well, Don't they say the devil can appear as an angel of light? He's a deceiver. And you as an inexperienced Yahoo, really, you're coming and approaching it in this way, and you'll accept wholesale, well, I felt something, so that must be what it is. Another thing he said too is that sometimes an outpouring of spiritual gifts can happen to you. It can actually happen to people. They can have clairvoyance, they can have these gifts, but they diminish over time, and it actually will erode at people. And he gave a lot of examples of people actually having mental issues later on in life, emotional, mental life issues later on. And actually these things don't stick, and they're not from the Holy Spirit. Because there's also another part where they talk about in the Bible at one point, I'm trying to remember exactly where it is, where somebody tries to cast out a demon from someone, but he was not initiated. He was not somebody who actually was worthy of doing that. And the demon literally like yells back at him and is like, I know Jesus, I know about Peter, but who are you? And like he even has like, you're not equipped to do this. And there's something to that where it's like, be careful. People need to be careful. Because I think this stuff is real. I think the spiritual realm is absolutely real. And people like this, snake oil salesman grifters, will say, well, I felt something. And you very well might feel something. But how are you to discern? How are they to discern whether that is something good or something bad? Even if it shows up as light, it could be a deception. Remember Trump in 2015? Those were the days, right? Meme magic, man, was crazy. Off the hook. He's still funny. I love inflation. I just think he's like senile now. He's like getting borderline Biden with the shit he says. He has that like twinge of Trump flavor to it, to where it's like goofy and off the wall, but like it doesn't even make any sense. You're like, I love inflation. What are you talking about? I love bad stuff. Okay. Don't let people pray over you unless they actually have spiritual authority over you. It's dangerous. True. I still remember that election night and fun the next day. I bought drinks for my coworkers to celebrate. I can't see her face zoom in. Sorry, I can't zoom in on here because I'm already zoomed in. And even if I do zoom in, the thing kind of, everything around it gets bigger, but the video is kind of adjusted. It doesn't work out. It doesn't work out well, especially because also this whole thing I have up here is kind of like centered a certain way, so I didn't want to screw that up either. What about the verse where Christ says not to stop the unknown exorcist casting out in his name? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You could probably find verses. That's the thing, though, is that when people, you could pick a verse for anything and these people will no doubt do the same thing. But I think you have to go through, this is why you need tradition. This is why you need the church. This is why you need a community of people throughout time who know and who are actually well-versed in all these things and have a way of interpreting and understanding the totality of what's going on. You can probably just go pick out a verse and be like, but what about this? But what about that? What about this? This is what the Pentecostal people did. He writes about that where he says they were basically just Protestants and they were looking for a way to kind of skirt around church tradition and a physical institution, pride, by the way. And they went, well, let's trace back to when the church started. And they went, oh, that was during Pentecost. And they went, oh, that's when the Holy Spirit came out down upon man. And so they tried to call down the Holy Spirit. It was Charles Parham, I think was what his name was, in the 1900. They tried to call down the Holy Spirit, him and a group of his followers. And they said it didn't work. Nothing happened. But then somebody said, no, but what happened after was that they were speaking in tongues. So we have to start speaking in tongues. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And then thus gave birth to the Pentecostal movement. And it's all because they interpreted and read that one line, which was true, but then they're gonna take it and run with it in the direction they want. You don't understand everything he loves the mainstream media, and Democrats go for the reverse. I just don't even like the game. The game is up. The jig is up. Okay, that's what I'm saying. I don't care about the 4D chess anymore. the game you're playing with the mainstream media, I don't give a shit anymore. I'm done. I'm off. I've been off of it. Sorry if you're here for MAGA glazing. I'm sorry. I cannot in good conscience glaze this administration. It was fun. It was fun. Look, meme magic was fun, but I think it's Jover. Church-appointed exorcists have talked about the danger of letting people without spiritual authority behave towards you as though they do. I believe it. I believe it. Yeah, I feel like, didn't Father Ripberger say something like that too on that Sean Ryan podcast? I think he did. I think he actually, I feel like he referenced that line where the demon says, "But who are you?" And it's like, uh-oh, what are you going to do now? 8:30. Do we want to talk about? We'll cover the Clav shit a little bit. I just think this is just getting it's just getting funny. It's just getting funny now, boys. We're getting to the funny, into the funny zone with Clav. So Clavicular went in for a nose job. What do you guys think? Before, after? Oh, that did work. Okay, let's do that. Maybe that'll be it. What do you guys think? I think it's botched, man. I think he looked better before. But I also need to see him in the same pose. That's one of the things with the plastic surgery, man. You can have the best doctor and you can trust him, but one wrong incision and you're ugly for life, bud. Shit. Sorry, bud. You're ugly for life. It's over. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, literally. I said the same thing. Modern day narcissist. His crash is going to be insane. I think we're starting to see bits and pieces of it, of his crack, of him cracking. That came out wrong. Of him cracking. Bits and pieces of him cracking. And it is inevitable. It is inevitable.
A cut on the lower jaw and then move it forward and apply screws. And same with the upper jaw. It's called a Lafort osteotomy. They cut along your anterior nasal spine and then advance your jaw forward. It's like they actually have to break your jaw.
Why?
Oh
How
my
many points do you
gosh.
think you're going to go up on the 1 through 10 scale after getting that surgery?
1.5.
1.5.
How did you
points.
come to 1.5? What do you rate yourself out of 10?
Yeah,
I don't.
Like but if you move up 1.5, is that like out of 10?
Yeah, I would say that that's generally how much people improve from Bimax, from what I've seen.
How much is that going to cost?
Well,
35,000.
That's your subjective opinion. Who makes up who decides that? 1.5. Who created the metric? What if it's 1.5 out of 100? That's my metric. You're going up 1.5%, spending $30,000.
What's the recovery like?
It's pretty brutal, I'd say, for the first 3 weeks. Then after that, you just have residual swelling that kind of subsides over like a 3 to 6 month period.
Has anyone tried to talk you out of this?
Yeah, pretty much everyone, like parents and stuff like that, just copers, normies.
The only thing that I see with you, again, just objectively, is that if you do the surgery, your views are going to shoot through the roof because people are going to want to tune in to see, okay, what happened. So you'll make the money back. So it'll be a free surgery.
Yeah, no, of course.
The downside is if the surgery goes wrong, in which case your views double
Mhm.
from what they would be otherwise. But beyond just
Then
more of
you're
a shock
botch
factor.
job. Yeah. No, I absolutely understand that
He
perspective.
can't
and,
even like talk normally. It
Usually
seems
when
like
people are trying to talk me out of this,
all this surgery and shit limits him completely. I mean, like, even the way, like, his facial expression. I mean, how much Botox do you think this guy has? What is he, 21? He has no facial expressions. He's not interesting. You better hope to God, bro, that your plastic surgeons don't ever screw up ever. And you better hope nothing bad ever happens to you where you get in a car accident, because that's it. Because there's nothing else there. Okay, that's it. This whole thing is just based on how you look right now.
surgery, they've,
You're not
often
interesting.
Never heard of it before. So
You're not funny.
I've done a lot of research into this. I wouldn't be.
You're not
choosing
even really
this, like,
charismatic.
as a way.
That's another thing too. He's not even charismatic, man. I feel like I'm more charismatic than this guy, and I'm a freaking ogre. Like Steve Buscemi is more charismatic than this guy.
To just like get attention and get views. There's no way I would permanently disfigure myself for that reason. And I decided upon jaw surgery for reasons other than social media. Like I didn't
His
start
jaw's
doing
already
social media
fine.
up
Listen,
until like a
bud,
few
you're
months
fine.
ago.
Maybe somebody just needs to tell him that. Listen, Braden. Listen, buddy. Your jaw is chiseled, bro. Your jaw is already chiseled as fuck. You're already the Squidward meme. You are already Jija Chad. Listen, buddy. You're already a 10. There's nowhere else to go. It's all just a waste now at this point. But come on. Let's play some Smash Bros. Come on, buddy. Let's go play some Call of Duty. It's okay. It'll be fine. Maybe that's what somebody needs to tell him. Everybody's coping is how he put it. Copium. Wages and copers. They're all telling me not to do it. Well, maybe somebody just needs to say, Braden, you're perfect just the way you are, buddy.
So I was already dead set on this course of action far before.
But that's not even what it is, though. It's delusion. I mean, it's absolute delusion. He's got in his head that this needs to be it, and he's like, full steam ahead. This is the pinnacle. This is the peak. This is my destination. Is being the Squidward meme. Do you guys know what I'm talking about with the Squidward meme? This.
Hang on! You're starting to look like your old self again. It's still not working. Maybe I'm not doing it hard enough.
Hang on a second. Let me just...
Squidward, you're even
There he
more
is.
handsome now.
There's Clav.
And the crowd is in a frenzy.
Well, SpongeBob, it was you who got me into this mess. Now you have to get me out again.
I know, Squidward. I'll think of something. I just need...
Got me into...
Squidward! Look out for that falling shoe!
Who's SpongeBob in this? SpongeBob will be Nick Fuentes.
SpongeBob?
That's Clav. That's Clav after one too many surgeries. Clav emotional after realizing Dr. Miami may have ruined his nose forever. Ew, yeah, he does look, that doesn't look good. Yeah, it is a little something. I think that one side looks better than the other side.
You're retarded.
Also, is it forever? Can he just get more surgery? Isn't that probably what he's going to do? Let me get some more surgery done to fix it. Another Band-Aid.
Anonymous just tipped $3. You lose your credibility as a Luke Smaxer if you can't admit the Rhino is a botch job.
Ooh. Ooh, hold him to his own standard. Listen, bro. It's a botch job, and if you don't admit it, you're losing your authority as being a Luke Smaxer. You have to. You're stuck. You have to admit you're ugly now. Or uglier. No coping. No coping.
It's over.
It's over. Oh. Looks like he's going to start coping now. Looks like he's taking the coping route.
Anonymous.
He's going to end up dying either through too many surgeries or through suicide. I think that's what's going to happen. Or drug use or whatever. I guess that's kind of a form of suicide. I think King of Sheba also, he originally said that in chat, and I think I kind of agree. I think that it might end with, that's the ultimate goal. The ultimate end to this. I don't know. It is just so ironic, though. Bit him in the ass. One too many surgeries. Bit you in the ass. Because I mean, I feel like with the surgery stuff, I feel like get your face to look good in a certain, and have a fixed position, and then just Botox from then on, bro, to keep yourself young. If that's what you're going to do, why are you changing shit? I thought you were already like a 10. Getting all that surgery makes him way less than a 10. Yeah, that's another thing too. Is like, this is just your brain on materialism, right? This is your brain on American psychoism. Only the external matters. Nothing else matters. Only what people see matters. There is no internal state. There is no... What's his name again? I was going to say Paul Allen. That's not it. Patrick Bateman, right? Patrick Bateman does not exist. There is no Patrick Bateman. It's just what you perceive of Patrick Bateman. See, that's just your mind on nihilism and materialism. You don't have an essence. You don't have an identity. You don't have personhood. That's scary stuff. That's scary stuff, actually, now that I'm talking about it. It's just material, rearranged atoms, no telos, nothing. Nothing imbued with an essence, nothing imbued with meaning. Nothing deeper. No spirit. Oof. No noose. Just the material. My gosh. If that's the case, hey, then this fits perfectly in line. If that was the case. I don't think that's the case. Anyways. All right, we have a video here to watch, and I want to watch this. It's a little long, so we're going to take a quick second. I'm going to take a quick minute. I'm going to hit the little boy's room. I'm going to grab something else to drink, and then we will be right back. And I want to talk about this because my aunt she brought up, she used to be a school teacher, elementary school teacher, and she was talking about a sudden shift in children and the way they act and the way they behave. And she said she actually, it made her retire early, I believe is what she said. And she said, I just couldn't handle it anymore. And especially because the schools didn't even take any steps to remedy this situation. And it was almost like they were emboldening the kids. So I'm interested in this. This is, there was a video that was Gen Alpha Can't Read that I was going to watch, but I didn't. And we have watched something like that in the past, but this goes so much deeper than Gen Alpha Can't Read. It goes much deeper than that. And on the thumbnail it had Gen Alpha can vote in 2028, I think is what it said. Is that true? What is the dates of Gen Alpha? Let me look. Gen Alpha years. 2010 and 2025. So yeah, 2028 will be the first election that the oldest Gen Alpha can vote in. 18 years old, right? So that's going to be interesting. I'm assuming that they're going to talk about that a bit and how this is going to change voting, especially when these retards can't even read. So, man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. So true. So true. That is so much of what I think. You're going to get me monologuing here. I got to go get something to drink. But that is so much of what I think is wrong with society and people, is that people don't even think that the heart, in the Orthodox conception of the nous, they kind of equate it to being almost like an emotion. Your heart and your emotions are kind of like one and the same. But the Orthodox have a different view of that. Is like the nous is actually kind of like a noetic faculty. That's a way it allows you to kind of commune with the divine, directly commune with it. And that your main goal in life is to purify your nous. It is kind of like the central, innermost part of your being. And that's why you go to church. That's why you partake in the Eucharist. You partake in the divine energies, because you're purifying your nous. And when people have a darkened nous, it is kind of like the thing that undergirds everything else. It undergirds your intellect. It undergirds your mind. It undergirds your emotions, your senses. And it's almost like a lens in which how you're going to view everything. I think of some of the smartest people I know. We talk about Destiny. Destiny's a smart guy. There's a lot of these streamers who are super smart. A lot of these elite who are super smart, super intellectual. But the thing that undergirds, the thing that they put their mind to, they don't know where to put that energy, and they end up putting it in the wrong places. It's not geared towards virtue. It's not geared towards goodness. It's not geared towards God, ultimately. It's geared towards something completely different. Usually, I think it devolves into pride, because they're so smart. Everyone around them is so dumb, which is usually the case if you're high IQ. And you think you can do it all, and you have figured out, and what you're focused on, what you're, studying, a limited understanding you have of those things, that's the most important thing. And my understanding is the be all end all. But it's like, if you don't have the proper lens in which to view these things, you don't have the proper direction on where to put those talents, then it's all kind of for naught. It's all a waste of time. And I think that's so much of what's going on, is that people are not, they're not, like you said, looking at the heart, looking at their heart. I don't even think people have a conception of the heart. I don't know, just some thoughts. I'd like to do a stream on that, actually, one of these days. There's a book I want to read about that. Maybe one of these days I will, because it's an interesting topic, and I don't know. It'd be something to do, maybe. Anyways, I will be right back. Nobody go nowhere. We're going to check this video out. Don't you dare touch that dial. All right, we're back. As I was in the bathroom, I was actually thinking about, speaking about the noose. They call it the eyes of the soul. That's that's kind of the way they refer to it. And it was interesting. Father Stephen DeYoung was on Tucker Carlson recently, and he kind of was talking about it at one point and gave an interesting kind of explanation for it, because it's kind of like a faculty. I always go to the bathroom and I think of a bunch more stuff and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. But he was talking about how it's a faculty that senses the spiritual realm. And it's one of the ways they say it's a faculty that allows you to perceive God directly. And that he was saying, in a similar sense, the eyes of the soul, in a similar sense, the way your eyes perceive the world, and how the world, you don't create that, but your eyes pick it up. In a similar sense, your heart, your nous, doesn't, the thoughts you have and and these kind of innermost feelings about these things, you don't create those either. Those are perceived by your nous. Similarly with how your senses perceive the external world. And that the thoughts that you allow to land in your mind and allow to take hold and you plan and act upon those, then that's what turns into sin. And that's what turns into a potential habit, right? Sinful habit. And I thought that was interesting. I thought it was an interesting way to put it. But the eyes of the soul, it's like what your soul is looking at, what your soul is perceiving. The innermost part of you. I don't know. It almost looks like they gave Clav, the nose. The hook nose? Who knows? All right, enough of the noose. Enough of the noose talk. Let's check this out. If this is boring, I don't know who this person is. This is Ashley Embers. It's got 200,000 views in 4 days, so I'm hoping it's good. But if it's boring, we'll turn it off.
I'm an elementary school teacher, and students have accidentally called me different names. Mom, Mama. But today, a student accidentally called me Alexa.
Honey, teaching kids isn't the same anymore.
Wow.
I gotta keep the kids constantly engaged. Not even just engaged, but almost overstimulated. Girl, bye, I got kids saying 6-7 repeatedly. They don't even know how to spell 6-7.
Kids can't do basic things anymore.
We have zero problem-solving skills. And it's not even just the inability to do work. It's the inability to follow any directions.
We're at the point in the literacy crisis where whole classrooms of kids are struggling.
Is this going to be TOS? I hope the music's not going to make it TOS. I mean, she's on YouTube, so.
With reading in like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. I don't know.
Kids are not being taught well enough to even work at Taco Bell.
The iPad in every classroom ruin education. Not only do they have screen time all the time at home, they also always have a screen at school.
We are scared because we are watching critical thinking disappear in real time.
As somebody that taught high school, we should all be scared.
Every generation has had its defining threat to overcome, right? Boomers were worried about nuclear war, millennials are worried about climate collapse, Gen Z grew up surrounded by existential instability, and Gen Alpha will have super intelligent AI nipping at their heels, threatening to destroy humanity. Still, each generation
Gen Alpha has to
done
deal
their
with
best
all of
to
that,
suppress
actually.
these threats. Boomers implemented treaties to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons, millennials healed the ozone through banning plastic straws, Gen Z is
I don't know
still
about that.
working on it, and when it comes time, Gen Alpha will confront the AI threat head-on using grit, critical thinking, and sheer determination, right?
baby.
Well, that is still to be determined because as of right now, they can't even handle their iPads buffering without having a full emotional breakdown. The thing is, these aren't just toddlers that we're talking about anymore, as the oldest of Gen Alpha are entering high school, meaning that time is running out to get.
Why do you give your kids an iPad to begin with? Like, I understand it's the easiest path of least resistance, whatever, and they're probably experiencing it out at school or whatever, or with their friends, whatever. Because I didn't have a cell phone growing up, but all my friends did. So even though I didn't, I still would have access to one for a large portion of the day. Even if it was just he's scrolling or whatever, or is on YouTube watching a video, playing a game, and I'm watching, like, I'm still basically on it, right? So, like, I understand that it's a path of least resistance, but, like, I feel like, man, is it really just that parents are just that lazy? Like, why don't you just tell them, listen, Billy at school has an iPad, but you're not going to have one? Like, why don't they, is that really, that's it? Is that, I don't care. I just want chicken tenders every night, and your iPad's on, and I'm on Ozempic, and it's, everything is path of least resistance. Does nobody ever feel like shit? Ever? I guess they do, but they just take pills to mask it, and they drink all day to mask it, and they, I feel like you would hope some of this stuff would kind of make them feel bad, make them feel like shit, and they would go, okay, we have to stop doing that for now. We have to reel back on that. But it doesn't even seem like people do. They just go like full steam ahead, on to the next thing. There's a girl at my work who wants to get on Ozempic, and she's not overweight. Her doctor literally denied her Ozempic because she's not overweight. She's got a little bit of, you know, something, but like, she looks fine to me. But she's like, I need Ozempic because I want to lose like 20 pounds. I'm like, 20 pounds? You can't lose 20 pounds on your own? You can't lose 20 pounds just by cutting out a meal? Like, are you kidding me? And she comes in with these big iced coffees every day. And I'm like, with all the shit on it. And I said, you know, if you just cut that out and just switch to black coffee, I guarantee you the 20 pounds would just fall off. And you go, oh, wow, that was easy. But she just won't. You just won't sacrifice at all. Not one step back. I will do what I want to do at all moments of the day. I guess that's what it is. Yes, parents are lazy. Plus, they don't have to watch their kid if their kid is on a tablet all day. Oh, but you know who is watching them? It's the SSRIs and weed, maybe. Oh, it's the DMT pen. It's the perma DMT pen that they're on. Yes.
These kids to the level of capability needed to navigate the adult world.
I don't know that word. I don't even know how to read.
With emotional regulation, problem solving, communication, resilience, concentration, and even basic independence all under threat, the reality is that many children are falling behind across the board. And listen, as a mother of a Gen Alpha school-age kid, I have thoughts. So listen up, because class is in session.
Okay,
and today's lesson includes.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to take her millennial woke tar way of speaking and the way she, like, I cannot, that clapping, the nose ring, the Harry Potter glasses. We'll see if I can make it through this.
It's the dissection of why kids aren't learning basic life skills in school anymore, and what it means to pass over the world's responsibilities to an underprepared generation.
The up talk too. Oh my gosh, it's a little much. Come on,
So
lady.
you've been wondering, kids' behavior in the classroom has only continued to deteriorate since we last talked about this. And that's despite the fact that there's been growing awareness and press coverage over this issue over the past few years, which you would expect to help redirect the efforts of parents and caregivers. Alas, we haven't seen any noticeable progress forward. In fact, certain aspects are only getting worse.
All across the country, we got teachers saying the same thing, that these kids are not in the level or on the level of the grade that they're in, that their handwriting is crazy, that they have zero retention and zero access to imagination. They will practice a subject or a skill the whole week, and then when it comes
That's one of the things I remember. I can't remember who said it. I don't remember who said it, but they said to control a population, the best way to control a population is to control their imagination. Because if you are in a position where you cannot imagine a different world, a better world, then that's it. It's over. You cannot picture a way on which things could be different, which requires your imagination, then you're going to be stuck with what is forever. That is very bleak to hear that. And a lot of your imagination comes from going within, you thinking, you going inward, you being bored, daydreaming, not having constant stimulation, not being on your freaking tablet 24 hours a day. Because when you're on the tablet, somebody's pumping into you the ideas, the thoughts, the interesting things. And there's no room for you to process it, for you to think for yourself, for you to come up with something new, a new idea, a new invention. None of that. It's somebody else's ideas being transmitted to you, and you're just eating it. Very bleak.
Testing, the children draw a blank. They don't know. They don't know what they're supposed to do.
National test scores highlight this urgency. The latest results from the National Assessment of Education Progress reveals low in English and math at grades 4, 8, and 12. The scores show that 1/3 of high school seniors lack basic reading skills. That's right, Gen Alpha has entered high school and is bringing the grade point average down with them. And so the same kids who suffered through school from home during COVID in their early years are still moving up grades without catching up. And why is that? Well, first of all, Gen Alpha's behavior is still as unhinged as ever.
I think you guys are misunderstanding the types of behaviors that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like
what type of behavior is this?
Tantrum. I'm not talking about like a student talking back once, right? Everyone makes mistakes. I get it. But besides that, I'm not talking about those behaviors that are normal and developmentally appropriate. I'm talking about trying to stab your teacher with a pencil. That's not regulation. That's insane.
As we know, many teachers have quit the profession since the lockdown because these kids have become just so disrespectful and out of control in the classroom. And for those who have chosen to stick it out, they don't even get the opportunity to teach as much as they need to, even labeling themselves as babysitters more than anything else. As a result, teachers are left with the decision to either decrease the depth of topics that they can cover or let children fall through the cracks as there aren't enough hours in the day to keep everyone on track. As this teacher shares, it's impossible for me to teach a lesson to students without being interrupted and talked over, being asked the same questions, or having to separate students and ultimately send some out of the classroom.
I don't know what's happened to education. It breaks my heart. I wanted to be a teacher since I was in the 4th grade. Now I'm a teacher and I'm miserable a lot.
Oh my gosh.
I love the act of teaching. I love changing students' minds and helping them develop into smart individuals. But I don't do that. I don't get to teach. I spend my day managing behaviors and teaching students how to regulate their emotions. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a behavior specialist. I'm a teacher, and most of my job
Teach me
is
how to be a
managing
human.
behaviors. Most of my job is reaching out to admin and parents.
With that, much like the rest.
Yeah, and my aunt had an insane story about how she said one kid would just, it was like a weekly thing where he would just explode and just writhe around and throw stuff and disrupt the whole classroom. And everybody just kind of had to let him be. And then ultimately he doesn't learn anything. He doesn't know anything. He can't take the tests. And what do? They go, well, he's not my problem anymore. Ship him on up to the next grade. He's your problem now. And it's like, there's just no, and I understand what she's saying. There's no, like, how can they do? I'm not a psychologist, a behavioral, whatever. I'm just a teacher. I just have a curriculum and I'm supposed to teach that. And now I'm supposed to be like a behavioral pathologist and a psychologist and a parent and all these things. And it's just too much. I get that. It's like, what are you supposed to do? And I think absolutely, I think we can point the culprit at technology. I think that's a big problem. Marie said, are they immigrants? That's probably another thing. I think that was another thing that my aunt mentioned as well. is that there was a lot of students who didn't speak English. They didn't even try to speak English. And it's like, well, one important element of being a kid is playing with other kids and be able to communicate and be able to, Jordan Peterson would always talk about that, being able to play games. And if you can't even talk to the other kid because you don't speak his language, well, that's not going to happen. And you're just going to be reserved to being an antisocial individual unit. You're just going to be you because you're not going to learn how to be social. You're going to have the freaking Gen Z stare. Very bad, man. This is really bad. These poor kids need normal people for teachers. That's another thing too. All these people that they're showing are like millennial white women with the upspeak and it's like, I wonder how they fare. I would love to see if there's a study on that. I wonder if there's male teachers versus female teachers and classroom participation, attendance, and grades. I wonder. Hey, I'm just saying. I wonder if maybe there's something to that as well. And we can do it by age too. Maybe there's older women. Maybe there's better responsive rates to older women than there are to these younger, like, yeah, just the clownish women, just like not even serious people. Is this the daycare generation? I don't even know what this is. What are we on now? What is this? What generation? I thought the millennials were daycare. What are they? What is Gen Z? The TikTok generation? I don't even know. And he disrupts education for the rest of the COVID generation, right? And he disrupts education for the rest of the class. Right, exactly. They probably find the other kids who speak their language. Yeah, and they make enclaves maybe. But then if they're not understanding the teacher, then they're really not learning.
Of us, Gen Alpha's attention spans are cooked, and even if they are interested in a subject, they often struggle to focus on a single task for any meaningful length of time.
So, back in the day, jingle, 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 back in the day.
And so many teachers are scrambling to find alternative teaching methods just to hold on to students' attention long enough to retain anything. This can be as harmless as shortening lessons to become more palatable.
So you see how they give into it? You see how they just give in? They're like, yeah, I'm going to just do what you people want me to do. I'm going to be... It's literally like the jester meme, right? It's crazy. Instead of actually creating an environment where it's like, we're going to be professional, we're going to talk like adults, we're going to be adults, you're going to learn, you're going to have an image. You're going to have an image to go off of, which is the authority in the classroom, which is me, the teacher. And you're going to learn from that passively and how to be, I want to be like Mrs. Instead, she's stooping down to their level and saying, I'm just going to match your energy. I'm going to be a kid. I'm going to be a kid just like you. Don't you like it? Oh, man. We are cooked.
Reducing them to AI slop vertical format videos. And you know what? I'm not even mad at it because at least they're still trying to get the information into these kids' heads.
I am mad at it.
Giving up on them.
You give them, you sit them down and you say, no, you're going to read Tragedy and Hope. You're going to read the 1,500 page tome. And if you don't finish it and read it and pass the test with at least a B, I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to kill you. I am going to send a pipe bomb to your house with your name on it. If you do not pass this, I bet you right then and there, boom, boom, scores would skyrocket. I'm going to flip your desk over. We had a teacher in the 4th grade, Mr. May. He used to flip people's desks over when they were too dirty. Okay. I came from the school of hard knocks. Okay. He used to flip people's desks over. Too dirty. That is what I'm talking about. That's what we need. Or when a kid falls asleep and everybody gets up and leaves the classroom. Or they sit there and wait and they stare until they wake up. That's another good one. Classic.
It's a losing battle because iPad kids' standards for dopamine are just so high that most things in life aren't engaging enough to keep their attention. As this teacher shares, with the way social media algorithms work, students are being fed nonstop content that's not only entertaining but also specifically tailored to their interests. That personalized experience has made traditional academic tasks like reading and writing feel much less engaging. When you're used
I also had Mr. May, and let me tell you, he was tough but fair.
to content that's fast-paced, visually engaging, and highly
I
personalized.
had a bus driver who threw my backpack out the window. Okay? I was being too rowdy, and she took my backpack and threw it out the window. She threw it out the window. Nowadays, she'd get a lawsuit, fired, you're gone. You'll never work in this district ever again. But I'll tell you what, I think back on this day, and I think about my actions and how I was acting. And I go, you know what? I was being a little shit. I was being a little rowdy shit.
A standard reading assignment just doesn't compete. Now, while Gen Alpha isn't to blame for the deterioration of their education, a lot of it comes down to poor parenting tactics as well as, again, the pandemic. But that doesn't mean that we can dismiss this as something that will just blow over and be forgotten in a few years. What's happening to Gen Alpha is a growing problem that will change how the next generation of workers and voters impact the world that we all live in. And with that in mind, I want to get into the biggest player here and the main focus of this video, Gen Alpha's ever-growing reliance on technology. Because this is new territory, right?
Oh my gosh.
They're the first generation to grow up with smartphone
That
in
is so
hand, ready to
cursed.
solve all of life's problems for them. And I want to say that this is really not an exaggeration. I feel like conversations about children can sometimes be blown out of proportion from the back in my day fist-shaking crowd, but this isn't that.
I
know
just did
I've
that.
had my moments wondering
just
if
did that.
parents are really offloading parenting onto technology, and then I see a 2-year-old in a restaurant scrolling TikTok, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a very real and widespread problem. And we know this not just from my experiences, but from the stats as well. According to a
This generation absolutely is going to be gung-ho. They're going to be totally for transhumanism. 100%, bro. 100%. Also, because some of it is that they can't even function without it. Right? Like she just said, the reliance on it. You cannot even, the cognitive diminishment. You can't even function as a person without the crutch of technology. So of course you're going to be funneled into transhumanism. Of course.
a report from the Erickson Institute, 85% of parents with children under the age of 6 allowed them to use any device they wanted. As well, according to a
85%.
Common Sense Media report, 40% of children have access to a tablet by the time they turn 2. By age 8, over half of children own their own device. It is so real, in fact, that teachers are reporting wild stories about the effects on kids, like how kids are actively trying to scroll or swipe their physical books any moment that they're bored, as well students are increasingly offloading their day-to-day thinking to AI chatbots, relying on them to answer even the most basic of questions.
The kids are using ChatGPT instead of Google.
Another millennial white woman.
When I tell you that young people are using ChatGPT for everything, I mean everything. And I'm working with mostly 9th graders this year, and like it's pretty common for 9th graders to come into high school and not necessarily know like, how to fact check or how to research.
All these
But
women
they
too are
don't even
probably
try. Like, the other day,
left-leaning,
a kid asked me a
liberal,
question. I gave them the answer,
millennial white women.
and I watched.
Can we get like a 75-year-old like old black man? Do we have that? Is that a thing? Can we get an old elderly abuela maybe? Anything? Why is they all of these have been millennial white women, all of them. And even within that group, they all have the same cadence and the same upspeak, and they all talk and they all do the same. And it's like, I want to see different come on, where's the diversity? Hello. I want to see different demographics of people and what their stories are in their classrooms.
use ChatGPT to fact check me, like right in front of me, and there was no shame. Like, it's just normal to them.
This increased use of touchscreens specifically has also compromised children's motor development, as tap-based interaction doesn't build the hand strength needed to support proper writing skills, which are already declining. As said here, lessons on Chromebooks and smartboards reduce the time students spend on paper and pencil activities.
Jacob, maybe you should become a teacher. You know how fast I would get fired as a teacher? Do you know how fast I would get fired? I would be thrown out probably. I would be surprised if I made it a week.
Activities. In an era in which students struggle with writing their own names, increased hands-on learning is crucial to accustoming Gen Alpha to engagement outside of a touchscreen and developing fine motor skills that will set them up for success in
Dude,
their
the hand thing though is so real. The hand thing is so real. I literally felt a cramp in my arm because of, I believe it was because of holding my phone a certain way for so long. I believe. And I thought that was one of the things that spurred me to get rid of the endless scrolling. I have to reel it back. My arm, I'm getting carpal tunnel from holding my phone for so long. I have to stop.
Journey. Along the same vein, for being a generation of tech natives, they have surprisingly low computer skills. In fact, most of them don't even know how to use a computer. That's right, even though from the ripe age of 2, Gen Alpha could navigate iPads better than most boomers can navigate a PDF, no one gave them the time of day.
That's because the landscape has been smoothed out already. Everything's been smoothed out and optimized for the user experience. So you don't the technologically advanced Gen Alpha doesn't know how to code. They're never going to learn how to code because all that is shielded by the UI. And it's all made super easy and super reduced. So you just have to click a button and you're doing it. And it's there. And why would you have to learn anything? I mean, think about like vibe coding, right? Vibe coding, same thing. It's like to have AI just do my coding for me. It's like everything is just shortcutted. Everything. So just because they are on the computers more, it doesn't mean they know shit about them. They're not going to know anything about them, frankly. That's kind of like the whole point, is that once AI and technology gets to a certain point, we're going to be so reliant on it, and it's going to be so optimized, we're not even going to understand it. We're not even going to understand how it works. And then you are completely locked in. You are completely locked into the technocracy. You are completely locked into the technocratic state.
Actual computers, meaning that even when they do get the opportunity to use computers as a productive method of learning in the classroom, they're incapable unless someone holds their hand through the entire process. This instructor shares their experience, saying, "My summer job has been working as an instructor at a technology camp for kids ages 7 to 17, so most of my students are iPad kids. I am given a curriculum that's built for kids to be able to understand. It's divided into short interactive segments. However, it assumes that students are familiar with basic computer functions. I would expect a 10-year-old to know how to launch an application, create a folder on the desktop, and open a web browser's bookmarked content. But this is not the case. I end up instructing on even the most simple tasks. Even files are foreign to them because everything is stored in app and named using autofill or autocorrect. When these kids are confronted with the daunting task of actually typing each letter of a word, they forget how to function. I try and help them find their files, and they're named either new file, A, or keyboard smash. Overall,
that is so true. Even the new batch of programmers don't know what they used to know. Yeah, because that's what technology is. It's there for, to reduce the power process and the understanding and the work it takes to get from A to B. That's what they're doing, is that they're constantly innovating to make it easier, everything easier. And so the next generation of programmers, you didn't have to build it from the ground up. Now that has already been built, and you're learning from this point, whereas everybody else had to learn from this point. And so then that generation will learn from this point, they'll build upon it. And then the next generation will learn from this point, right? And it'll be even easier, even more optimized. And it becomes outdated, and like you don't even, it's like a lost language.
Dealing with a generation so immersed in technology that many have become unhealthily dependent on it. As technology becomes increasingly frictionless, the human abilities that are meant to work hand in hand with it, things like attention spans, creativity, social skills, and concentration, are beginning to deteriorate. If this path continues, Gen Alpha will become ever more permanently connected to devices, to the point where they don't just use technology anymore, they're used by it. And the impact of this dependence on on technology is
happening.
far more far-reaching than we think. Okay, question for you. Do you ever feel like you are more anxious or sensitive than other people?
Jump
So
ahead.
They can help. One of the biggest side effects we're seeing from Gen Alpha's screen addiction is delayed emotional development, as they tend to suppress any bad emotion with Cocomelon or vegetable dancing videos. Can you put one of those videos behind me? The veggie. Do you know this, Tara? There's like dancing vegetables.
I know stuff.
I'm stimulated.
Really?
Because what else do you think happens when children are taught to turn to screens whenever life becomes boring, frustrating, or stressful? As this parent shares, my son, Gen Alpha, was upset the other day due to an incident in school.
You
He
never
refused to
reflect.
share it with me
You never
despite
take any time to
repeated
reflect.
asks, and he was sulking. I stopped and just sat next to him. He said, "Let me watch TV. I will feel better." When they argue and fight with parents, friends, or
Just
when they
forget
are
about it.
restless, fragile, or overwhelmed, they just reach out to the numbing glow because they don't know how to process overwhelming emotions.
Back in my day, we used to drink a whole fifth. We used to drink a whole bottle of whiskey to suppress our emotions. But now, turn on that Cocomelon. Give me that TikTok. Healthier? 6 of 1.
This all the time, right? A child is screaming in the grocery store, so a mom throws a screen in front of their face. And I hate to say it, but I'm not necessarily mad at this all the time because I feel like there's some nuance here. I know you're expecting me to say iPads are the devil, which I do feel that way, but I do have some empathy and understanding for parents who use them. Hear me out. In a world where parents are often left to navigate parenthood without much of a village to support them, I personally don't think it's a big deal if they pull out their phone to prevent
The technological society is pushing us towards that.
or
It's
to
all
survive
part of
the
it.
last 10 minutes waiting for the bill at a restaurant when their kids are completely exhausted and barely holding it together. But there's a line, right? Like if you're only ever using the screen anytime your child is emotional, then they're losing the opportunity to learn to process those feelings. With
You're
that,
also losing the ability to figure out how to parent well. So then you'll never be able to give any advice to anybody else. Even if you do manage to create some sort of village, you're not going to have any real knowledge on it because you've outsourced all your parenting to the fucking iPad. Your kid's retarded and you're not a parent.
I'm also not judging parents who use screens as the only way for them to enjoy a night out at a restaurant without their 2-year-old screaming the whole time.
It's not about you.
Hold on.
Sonny,
maybe next weekend. Yeah, so then she said, hold on, stay away from the swings. Be free around Christmas.
Feel free to tell me if you think I'm wrong. I just feel like it's not bad if used selectively. But as kids grow up, we need to put the screens away because your 5-year-old should be able to sit in the dentist waiting room without an iPad. Because if you overdo it, you end up with research studies with 10-year-olds saying if you're in a bad mood, you just go on your phone and then you feel better. You can scroll to a funny video and forget about the sad stuff.
How much you want to bet this lady, right? This kind of liberal, millennial, talking lady, you know, this kind of culture and philosophy and idea of liberalism, like unbridled liberalism and individualism, and this leads to the atomization. This is what this is, right? You're saying, well, people don't have a community anymore or a village to help raise their kids. Well, because you probably sit there and rail against your conservative parents and living in your hometown and living near your parents and your family, and you probably say, move to a big city the first chance you get, become an atomized individual. And you either probably say, don't have kids, or if you do, you have 1 or 2, and guess what? They're iPad babies. Because you moved away and you've atomized yourself and you've turned yourself into an economic widget. Like this whole philosophy, the capitalist liberal ideology is pushing us towards atomization, which then, like she said, makes us reliant on the market, makes us reliant on the techno-capitalist state. That's the whole point. That's exactly what we're talking about here. All of it needs to go. It needs to be, I shouldn't say go. Maybe there's some of it, but push it back, man. That's what we're talking about. This whole philosophy, which I guarantee this lady embodies. I guarantee all these women who we've seen on here, the upspeaking millennial white women, they're all probably embodying this whole paradigm, but then they look at one problem with it and they go, I don't like that. Well, that is because of this, which is because of this, which is because of this whole host of ideas that you guys push for. Atomization, individualism. freeing yourself, liberating yourself from anything, any constraint of culture, of religion, of family, of nation, of parenting, of being a human. That's where this is all going. That's what the philosophy is. And this lady probably agrees with most of what I said there. But then I want to stop. I want to stop right there. I want to stop on that one. It doesn't work like that, sweetheart. I'm sorry.
This is exactly why Gen Alpha has such bad attention spans. We're seeing kids constantly needing more and more stimulation to stay engaged, to the point that many can barely tolerate anything slower or low stimulation anymore.
Is he playing Hearthstone?
When I was in high school and you got to watch a movie, that was electric. You didn't care what movie. You didn't care what you had to do after. You
Elf.
got to watch a movie.
We're watching Elf today.
32 minutes of the movie. It's a 90. They were in here for 90. Oh, and then you're going to complain that I give you a worksheet? I'll give you a worksheet that's time-stamped. With short answer questions like that, I'm going to stop and explain to you because you can't even concept the movie because you can't.
This plays out in the classroom exactly how you would expect it.
Another young white
Kids
woman.
can't sit still. The Gen Alpha literacy crisis isn't just about failing grades or a drop in standardized test scores. It's about how an entire generation is losing the ability, stamina, and desire to read novels that shape their lives. How they won't be able to function in a world with menus, manuals, and memos. How their imaginations are being stunted so they can't create worlds in their own minds, since they prefer unimaginative worlds made for them on a screen.
Honey, teaching kids isn't the same anymore. It's just not. Used to be kids would listen to teachers simply because they were teachers. That was the respect of it all. Now, no, honey. I got to keep the kids constantly engaged. Not even just engaged, but almost overstimulated. The candy isn't even working anymore. Giving out candy for positive reinforcement doesn't even work anymore. They don't care about that. Girl, I'm using chimpanzee bananini just to get my kids.
That's just the abundance society.
Hello.
Right? That's just the abundance society. When you go home and you have candy for dinner every night, candy's not that special. But when you have to eat, tuna casserole. Well, actually, tuna casserole might be good. When you have to eat liver and onions in your broccoli and your bread, well, candy's like, whoa, that's crazy. That's good shit. But since everybody's eating candy all the time, candy's not going to be. It's not going to be a reward. Give me a break.
Girl, bye. I got kids saying 6-7 repeatedly. They don't even know how to spell 6-7. Catching me doing this mid lecture, just to see if they're paying attention. You watching? Hello, we there? Girl, it's so bad now. It's so bad.
Going further, researchers are finding that Gen Alpha is following Millennial and Gen Z's trend of mental health deterioration. We're talking anxiety, ADHD, and depression, all spiking and impacting students' ability to succeed.
Oh, they're following the lead of the millennial liberal teachers that you're showing us.
Time as the amygdala, involved in emotional processing and motivation, has been shown to shrink in volume and size with increased scrolling and screen time. But we also can't just outright take away the devices either without dealing with a whole other realm of issues, because these are real addictions we're talking about, meaning that kids go through withdrawal as they're so unfamiliar with their own emotions.
Day 2 without your iPad. How's it going, Joe?
Apple Patch.
A University of Washington study found that 22% of screen time transitions evoked a negative reaction from children under the age of 5, while another study from Brigham Young University found that of children ages 2 to 3 using screens, 93% of parents reported their toddler at least sometimes throws tantrums or whines when transitioning away from media. And so, of course, children aren't going to be well regulated in school when they aren't well regulated in any area of their lives.
This is bleak.
So here's the thing, our story doesn't stop here, as the issue with Gen Alpha goes so much deeper than iPads. In fact, it's the entire technology atmosphere we live in that's compromising this generation. Because even if you never give your kid an iPad, secondhand tech exposure can do just as much damage. So what does that look like? Well, for one, Gen Alpha is absorbing all of these tendencies to turn to technology as a constant stream of clarity, answers, and direction. Because
We said this.
We as parents are asked a question.
We called this one a while ago. The AI God, right? The certainty. Where do I go for truth? Who's going to tell me? And as the political divide continues to increase and infiltrate all areas of life, I can't listen to so-and-so because he's conservative. And then the conservatives are increasingly saying, well, I can't listen to them because they're a woke tart. They're a woke tart. They're a liberal. Who do I go to? And then even within those, right? Well, you have the Hassans and you have the Destinies. You have the Nick Fuenteses of the world, and you have the Candace Owens of the world, and you have these different enclaves of people who are existing within there. And it's like, who do they listen to? It's like it just keeps fracturing. Well, we'll go to the AI certainty, the certainty of the Chat GPT. They'll tell me what's going on.
We don't have the answer to. What do? We pull out our phones. How long until we get there? GPS says 13 minutes. What's this insect in my hand? Photo app ID says a damselfly. How do I solve this long division homework equation? Let's plug it into ChatGPT.
But the irony of the ChatGPT and the AI is that all it's doing is just surveying the internet and finding a general answer of like, yeah, this is the most. So you might be getting conservative, left, whatever. You might be getting, but because it's the face of an AI telling you that scraped the internet for all this data and give you kind of a general. You're like, okay, I think that's right.
Everything from our digital calendars, time blocking out our entire week, the weather apps giving us hour-by-hour forecasts, and smart speakers handling all the questions that fall in between means that we always have the answer. Which is, in fact, incredibly convenient because for the first time ever, us parents have responses to the endless stream of whys. But convenience isn't always a good thing. Because when we only ever supply this constant stream of direct answers, children begin to rely on that unwavering certainty and lose the friction needed to build resilience.
Working with children has ruined my passion for working with children. So for context, I work in lower elementary. We have zero problem-solving skills. There could be a backpack in the path that someone needs to walk, and instead of picking it up, walking around it, they'll start whining that they don't know what to do. Like their brain short circuits and they don't know what to do about it. They literally cannot think to just move it out of the way.
Unlike the hovering helicopter parents, the smart plow parent doesn't even need to hover. Technology does the hovering. GPS, alerts, reminders, AI-generated to-do lists, every obstacle is cleared before the child even sees it. In our pursuit of convenience, we've accidentally made life harder for them. So interesting. This is why I make videos. Basically, these screen-heavy environments are providing an illusion of control for children, leading them to lose the ability to learn how to find their own answers and solutions.
Right.
So every week in my class, at the end of the week, we do
everything
what is called a Formative Friday, where I just give them a little 4-point formative.
We all need to decide what the answer is.
How they learned that week's material. This is the screen they see pretty much every single time. This part doesn't ever change. So those expectations are there every single time. I also always give them something to work on afterward. All the instructions, where does it say? Oh, on Schoology. This is not new. This is up there every single week. And when I tell you that one of the girls had the audacity to tell me that I should give them something to do when they're finished with their quizzes and they would be quiet. And then all I did was point to the board and I said, almost like I gave you something to do. It's right there. And she's, well, I didn't see that. Girl, I told you before you did the quiz that it was there. We do this every week. Exact same thing. Every single Friday. Like, that is not a surprise. I gave you something to do.
This is what's called the certainty trap, where smart devices and well-meaning adults remove all these small uncertainties that build emotional resilience, leaving kids unequipped to handle the ambiguity of real life. We see this certainty pop up in many facets of modern children's lives, from, of course, the on-demand Google answers, but also even in the shows that they watch. Even Gen Alpha's favorite show is full of certainty. Shows like Paw Patrol may be doing more harm than good. Why? because they're so predictable. There's a problem, Ryder, the team lead of Paw Patrol, gives instructions, and it's solved perfectly. Children aren't learning to think critically or adapt, they're learning to expect that someone else will always have the right answer, which does bring to question whether Scooby-Doo was just as problematic, but maybe we won't get into that. In my research, I kept thinking about how technology plays a role in my own children's lives, and how, of course, whenever my son wants to know the ID of a bug, we just look it up. Why wouldn't we, right? And I never thought twice about it because it's
Why
good
wouldn't
to
we
learn
eat
together.
McDonald's for
But
every
without
meal?
realizing it, I taught him that that's the only way
Why
to
go
find
outside
answers.
and fly a kite when I can just pop a pill, right? I actually go back at least 2 generations. I blame the so-called greatest generation. I think they majorly dropped the ball parenting-wise, and each subsequent generation has been screwing up the next. I think actually this is even deeper than that, actually. I might even go back to the founding of America, really. The Western world, the way the Western world has developed, and now it is sprawling its tentacles across all of humanity. I would say that honestly, maybe, and I would have to think about it more, but one of the first things that comes to my mind is Protestantism and this idea of the individual, me, myself, exploring the Bible in the way that and I interpret it, and I am kind of my own pope, right? I am my own authority. That I think is the first beginnings of, and even just the way America was founded. You know, it's the Pilgrims and coming, escaping Western Europe and trying to find a new home, to not be under Roman Catholic rule. I think that is like we're trying to liberate ourselves, right? The Enlightenment thinkers, what America was founded on, the philosophies, the paradigm led to this, is leading to this. It's leading to transhumanism, really. Not being beholden to institution, not being beholden to authority, democratization, individualism, having no responsibility, having nothing that I don't choose. You do it the way you want to. You interpret the Bible the way you want to. You interpret whatever. And we're starting to see the breakdown of that is that, well, then who do we turn to when we don't know? Who does have the information? Well, the market. The market can solve that. The expert class. The technocrats can solve that.
And this has already come up, as just the other month he was playing pretend fishing in the backyard and kept saying what fish he was reeling in, like a blue fish or an orange fish. I don't think he actually said any real fish names, but that's besides the point, because then he pulled in one that he didn't know and he said, "Don't worry, I'll look it up on my phone," and proceeded to pull out an imaginary phone to look it up on. Now, in the moment, I knew that didn't sit well with me, but I didn't know why. And now I do, because he's learned that this is the default for any unknowns that come his way. And this is having real effects in the classroom as well, and is arguably the biggest problem holding children back because they don't have the cognitive ability to think for themselves. This is even impacting the brightest of students who are struggling with not knowing how to proceed when you just don't know. I found this Reddit thread of teachers sharing their experience with this and what they think are the biggest real life skills that students are struggling with. One of them saying giving up when something doesn't come immediately, asking questions immediately, not reading directions. As well, organizational skills. I can guarantee that I'll get 20 emails at 11 p.m. the night before a deadline. There are only a handful of kids in every grade who are organized. Lastly, one says reading directions. Even my Smarty Pants students don't do it.
This morning for the kids' warm-up, they had to copy a sentence twice. Within a matter of 5 minutes, I had over
finally
5
a
questions
man
asking me to re-explain what was going on. And then one student, actually, I had to go up to and say, "Hey, why are you not writing anything?" He goes, "Well, I don't really know what to do here." I said, "Well, you write the sentence twice." He says, "So I have to fill up all the lines that are left?" "No, you just have to write the sentence twice." He goes, "What do you mean?" "You copy that sentence word for word twice." "Okay, so I only have to copy the sentence down 2 times." "Yes." And I do it in these lines. Those are the only lines you have. and I don't have to fill up every line. You write the sentence twice.
While writing this,
I would have told him, you know what? Now that you've asked that again, you have to fill up every line now. There you go. That solved it. Fill up every line with the sentence over and over again. Thank you. See, that was the greatest generation. The feminists destroyed the family, divorce, birth control, marriage falls apart, it snowballs. That's all the greatest generation. Yeah, but like that's what I'm saying is that like the philosophy is still there, right? Is liberating the woman from childbirth, liberating the woman from motherhood and family. And without the technologies, without the techno-capitalist society creating these technologies, they would never have been able to do that. So it's the philosophy and it's the philosophy driving the market, driving the system, which allows them to fulfill that philosophy, to say, okay, well, I am liberating myself from motherhood, from family, from being a woman, really, is what I think ultimately they're trying to create a genderless society completely. Because you didn't choose to be born a woman. I didn't choose to be born a woman or a man. So
also couldn't help but compare these kids' childhood.
I think we can confidently blame a good deal, most perhaps, on technology. Yeah. It's like the water that they're swimming in. Like blaming the greatest generation, it's like fine, but you know, you can do that. But it's the water we're swimming in. All these generations are swimming in the same water. It's just now we're getting to a point to where the chickens are coming home to roost, or whatever the saying is. Now we're finding out the absolute end of this. What the ends of this are starting to emerge. Murky. It's murky, but it's starting to emerge just barely, and we're starting to see it, and we're all going, "Oh shit! Oh shit! We're about to go over the cliff." JKM, well, I think you're onto something with that. You said earlier, because we separated ourselves from sound philosophy first, as you said, and then allowed. Yes, exactly. That was the foundation of our society, was the philosophy and the paradigm with which we viewed everything. The individual being the prominent, the building block of society, which again, I think you could probably find in Protestantism, was when that started. And just like I said, just the way we found America, which was this trailblazing individualists, go out there and make it. Like that whole thing, that whole idea also played a big part in it. Those things were what kind of opened the door to radical individualism and the Enlightenment in general. And then from there, we keep going to liberation of the individual.
Hoods to my own. I was reminded of how when my sister and I were kids and we would plan our school outfits, we would use the outdoor thermometer in our kitchen. And based on how the weather was at 7 a.m., we would predict what was the likeliest forecast for the day, especially in shoulder seasons where it could be 15 degrees and rainy or 30 degrees and muggy. Figuring out what was actually weather appropriate was tricky. But as silly as it sounds, these little moments of critical thinking as children are what build onto the more complex problems solving we need when we're older, because even this dilemma has been stripped away from the younger generation, as you can just ask Alexa for the rain forecast down to the millimeter per hour.
It will be 51 degrees with a low of 21.
So we are unintentionally raising kids who can't handle the unexpected, and as you can expect, this is a major contributor to Gen Alpha's rising anxiety, because the less uncertainty they face now, the more anxiety they feel later. As said here, anxiety is often triggered by uncertainty. As Nature Reviews Neuroscience notes, the brain's anxiety response is directly tied to how well we can tolerate the unknown. And if we're never exposed to the unknown, we never learn how to cope. That's the trap Gen Alpha is falling into. They aren't just being helicopter parented, they're being certainty parented. This is what needs to be reintroduced into childhood, because learning itself is built on discomfort, and children need experience in that in order to succeed in school.
We grew up where we still had to research things like, does Anybody remember JSTOR? Actually having to go into the library and look up peer-reviewed articles and figuring out how to put the pieces of things together, media literacy, all of those things were taught to us. We remember before having the instant access to Google, and then we also remember the after.
Anybody
where
remember
we
the
still
Dewey
had to
Decimal
filter our
System?
results and understand that some things are biased.
I do.
And apps like this are a direct contributor to the learned helplessness of the younger generation because that's the target demographic for these apps. If things are not spoon-fed to them as fast as they can swipe, they just think it's too hard, it's too much work, I don't know where to find it.
While we all love to complain
Yep.
about how we don't learn anything
Your
useful
dopamine
in
flatlines
school,
and you're like,
memorizing
I don't care.
formulas was never the point. School is meant to teach you how to learn, how to organize yourself, and how to adapt to high-pressure environments, and how to problem solve. Those are the
Because the achieving and working hard towards achieving something becomes flattened. To get that dopamine high of I achieved, that becomes flattened with things like infinite scrolling and TikTok. So having to do basic tasks become extremely difficult because that dopamine hit that I was able to reproduce through TikTok instantly. Now I now have to put in this amount of effort to get that. Ha, too hard. I give up.
truly
I'm going to
important
bed.
skills being developed, and they're all compromised when kids are starting 10 steps behind. Okay, to drive this home, it's important to discuss how it all plays out in the long term. Because as you know, we're not just dealing with a generation that can't read at the 4th grade level, but a lack of critical thinking skills that will follow these kids through high school into the adult world. The first concern I have is how this deficiency will only amplify their over-reliance on AI as they grow up. Side note, also have this growing fear that Gen Z and millennials will be the last and only generations to be skeptical of AI.
It was the architects of artificial intelligence. Interesting.
Existing in a sort of Goldilocks window between older generations blindly accepting it and younger generations that never knew a world without it.
There's a cow in New York City who rides the subway. No.
Cool. But back on topic, Gen Alpha will only ever get more enmeshed with AI as they already go about life asking their AI chatbots about everything and anything.
Echo, how do you build a flat piece of metal can turn anything in the world, even a thing you can put on teleport anywhere you take a picture at?
Sorry, I don't know that.
And of course they do. Why wouldn't they? If your prefrontal cortex wasn't developed and a new invention came around to do all your homework for you, you would jump on it too, right? Studies on the effects of calculator use in mathematics education have long debated its impact on developing fundamental arithmetic skills. Extending this to the capabilities of generative AI, we must consider the potential for what some term cognitive offloading, where the brain relies on artificial assistance AI.
I like
to
cognitive
perform tasks
diminishment
it
better.
might otherwise have undertaken on its own, potentially leading to an atrophy of specific cognitive muscles. Because cognitive struggle isn't a flaw in the human experience, but one of the very things that develops critical thinking. And so the danger here isn't just suffering grades, but the next generation unsure of how to use their brains.
What do you mean some of your kids are going to school in elementary school and needing to be taught how to pick up things? Needing to be taught basic life functions. What do you mean college kids are paying for their degrees to use ChatGPT? In a consumeristic world where we are slowly making it that we own nothing, intelligence is a currency. Some of you are truly setting your children up for failure because when they know nothing, they will, and some of them currently are, believing anything.
Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that this doesn't apply to all children. There are still a group of kids who are progressing well, love reading, and have strong critical thinking skills, but the gap between them and the technology-obsessed kids is only widening, and this impacts all of us. As mentioned multiple times, Gen Alpha is entering high school, meaning they're only a few years away from adulthood, voting, influencing public discourse, and helping shape the direction of governments and society.
Shit.
Cognitive independence isn't something
These kids are retarded. They're not going to influence shit
when you turn 18, and literacy can't be shortcut, downloaded, or summarized.
I also work at Taco Bell, and
Why do they all
obviously
look
talk
the
about
same?
hires, like,
What the hell, man? All of them with the freaking nose, all of them liberal white women. Like, can we please? We saw one man. We saw one man talk.
high school students, you know what I'm saying? And I only work there 1 day a week, but what I've noticed is that
What is this, her fucking
the high
bong?
school students that
Oh my
have been
gosh.
hired like in the last like
It
year
kind
or
of
so.
it kind of shatters the illusion a little bit here. When you show me these people, I'm sorry, you're just not a serious person. I'm sorry. Lover's Lane, the hair, the makeup, I mean the note, I mean you're just not. And you're trying to sit there and you're going to tell us, no, the kids don't know anything. Well, because they're looking at you and they're like, look at this fucking clown. I'm supposed to learn from her? Give me a break.
So can't count money. Like they can't count change at all. Like so much so that
This is why I tell people to focus on your own shit. Take your kids, raise them yourself. Until homeschooling is outlawed, raise them yourself, get them into church, get them into Orthodox church, get them in a community. Because how do you solve this? How do you solve this? What are you going to do? What are you going to revolt against all women? Like, okay, is that what you're going to do? It's the principle of subsidiarity. You really think that you're going to be able to take on this, whatever this is? There's no solving that. It's almost like it's cooked. It's just cooked. Start anew. Try and raise your kids the best you can, the way you can, and avoid putting them into the public system. Avoid giving them technology as much as you can. If I ever have kids, we're going to have one computer in the corner of the main living room. And it's going to be limited, and I'm going to watch everything. And that's that. Kids aren't going to have any phones or nothing until they're 18. They ain't going to have shit. I don't care. I don't care. Whatever it takes. I'm going to look at this stuff. I'm going to think about it. And I'm going to go, I don't want my kids to be retards. And then even that basic parenting will set them up to be like, well, it'll just set them, the fact that they know how to clean up their room and do basic math will set them up, and they'll be like literal gods in the future. They will be literal gods amongst men. She has a crystal around her neck too. The kids are being taught by little. Is that a crystal? I thought it was a lock. It kind of looks like a beehive now the more I look at it. I don't understand either. Maybe the kids are distracted by her. Yeah, I don't know. You're just not. I mean, I believe in objectivity. I believe in when somebody sees this woman, when a kid sees this woman, I believe that there is a real quality to appearances that is conveyed. And look, she might be a lovely lady, okay, but you do not embody professionalism. You do not embody an authority. You do not embody these things. You just don't. I know you are going to tell me that's unfair. I know you're going to tell me. I don't agree with that. But ma'am, please, just listen. Maybe we need to listen. Maybe you need to sit your ass down and listen for once. Holy. I don't understand either. Maybe the kids are distracted. Oh, right, because we will totally put our kids in school when homeschooling is outlawed. You know what? That's a good point. That's a good point. Don't even then. You're going to have to kill us. You're going to have to mow us down. LOL, it'll be like Idiocracy. The extremely average will be got. Exactly. My kids will have like 92 IQ. I'm like 98 IQ, and they'll be like, oh, they know how to pick up a bag. They know how to brush their teeth. That's not even like, that's just so, that's bottom of the, bottom tier, man. That's basic humanity. That's basic humanness, is interacting with the external world. It's cause and effect. That is like fundamental to reality. Maybe a few times a year, kids need to go camping for a weekend with the technology. Yeah, yeah. I want to do that too. You know, my church offers a lot of retreats and stuff. And I think, man, I should do that. I should do like a retreat one of these times. You're right. How you present yourself matters. It's an outward expression of your interior. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I kept saying that shit with the Nala Ray grift, is that her outward expressions, her outward actions are not indicative of an actual repentant person. Right? On to the next thing, on to the next thing. It's like you didn't Sarah Stock jumping off the internet completely. She's done, she's out of it. That to me speaks volumes. I think she actually is repentant. That to me, it's like, because what else do I have to, what else do we have to go off of? All we know is you externally. We don't know your internal. But if you're going to make no changes at all, and it's on to the next thing, then all I can say is it's a grift. And you don't actually care.
Be on a drawer, because if they are, it will always be over or under. Like there's no way, and it's almost always under. You guys want to talk about, like, people want to talk about how the minimum wage should be like whatever, and it shouldn't be increased or whatever because these people are just doing like entry level jobs or whatever. But this job is not entry level anymore. Like the entry level people cannot do this job anymore. You know, like kids are not even being taught well enough to work at Taco Bell. Like, let that sink in. Like, you're not hearing me. Kids are not being taught well enough to even work at Taco Bell.
Early years
AI is going to take that job anyways.
Long-term development. Too many studies have been done to show how important that time is for young minds. Parents need to understand it's their job to teach their children. Teachers are there for academic endeavors, which is getting harder when the children in the class can't write their own names. And this is the crux of this video, that we're raising a generation that will potentially lead to the downfall of humanity. Because as these kids grow up, they become responsible for navigating some of the most volatile times between super intelligent AI on the horizon, authoritarian governments taking over, irreversible global rising temperatures, and much more. The urgency cannot be underemphasized that we need to raise a generation with the capability of moral reasoning, long-term thinking,
moral reasoning. Where do you get your morals
judgment,
from?
Philosophical debate, and the ability to think through unintended consequences. Because if Gen Alpha only ever relies on AI summaries and spoon-fed answers, then there isn't much hope for us, is there? Okay, final thoughts. So if you are a parent watching this and you're looking for one thing to take away from this video, it is that you should get off your phone. Not just because you're setting an example of screen addiction, but because when you do get off your phone, then you're forced to teach kids how to find alternative solutions in life. I also think it's important to practice micro age-appropriate challenges with your kids to build their resilience. I heard a parent say that they had their 3 Gen Alpha kids navigate them through an airport to their flight, while obviously a slower process, taught these kids invaluable lessons. My last little important note to end on is that it's important to normalize I don't know. Let your kids hear you say it, and also let them feel the unknown. And for examples, like when my son and I were unsure about a bug he found, sometimes you should take the long analog route to find the answer. Whether it's searching in the nature books that you already have in your house, or doing the trip to the library to look it up. Both offer skill building answers instead of quick empty ones, and you can be damn sure that these kids will remember the ID of that bug next time because they went through so much to get the answer. That is all I have for you today. Make sure you subscribe if you like my video essays, and check out the merch. All the proceeds go to the Essay Foundation, and I wish you a day of being your own chatbot, if that makes sense. I don't know. Okay, bye.
Okay. All right, that lady, kind of brutal, okay? Kind of brutal. Felt like I was talking to HR a little bit there. But it was a good video. It was a good video overall. I enjoyed it. But, man, I don't know. We're cooked, man. I think we're kind of cooked. I don't know how you reel this back. I don't know how you reel her and her ilk back, and I also don't know how you reel back this generation of kids who are being raised on this stuff. I think you really do have to do, you know, me and Dick were talking about that last stream. It's like you really do just have to emphasize a small group of people to just like, I don't want to say rebuild, but like what I just said, if I had kids and I raised them how to, you know, do basic things, they would stand out in that crowd. 100%. And you invest time, and then that's one, and then maybe they can go with other people, and then you create your own community of highly intelligent people, or just, I guess you could say, above the rest. You know, people who are above the rest. They might not even be highly intelligent. You're right. Like it might be idiocracy. It might just be like 100 IQ, 90 IQ, but like they know cause and effect. They know how to deal with basic reality. They know 2 + 2 = 4. And that might be enough to kind of spawn and proliferate. Maybe in a couple generations. Because also you got to think, a lot of these Gen Alpha people, if they can't do basic shit, they're not having kids. These people aren't having kids. I don't think they're not. So you don't even have to worry about that. But if you raise your own community with an imperative, community with love and care and affection, and they know what you know, and they can take that with them, and they can enact those ideals in their own life, well, then their kids will have those as well. And then you keep going from there. It's like the Amish. The Amish are a small, secluded community, and they're probably going to go on forever because of how they've set themselves up. In the 70s, they took prayer out of school. Yeah. The priest at Mass last Sunday said in his homily, if you want to see what somebody believes, don't ask them, watch them. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm big on that. I don't care about what you say. Tell me your actions. Show me how you act. She's probably a literal witch. No, I'm serious. Yeah, there was a portion in the, I haven't finished it yet, but it's because it's at the end. I'm about to get there where soon to be Saint Seraphim Rose talks about paganism, witchcraft, and all this stuff. He talks about Hinduism too a lot in the beginning of the book. Shamanism, I think he talks to at the end. All these different kind of spiritualities that are cropping up. I've worked with multiple people who practice witchcraft. The demons are everywhere. That's another thing we underestimate, how much demonic oppression children are growing up with. Yeah, absolutely. And just like with any kind of abuse, if kids grow up in a spiritual abuse, they won't know what isn't normal. If they never see what healthy spirituality looks like, they won't know anything is wrong. They will just suffer. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Do I even want to talk about the Elijah thing? It's 10 o'clock already. What are we thinking, chat? Should I talk about Elijah? Chat, what do you want? You want me to keep going? You want me to talk about Elijah? Or you want me to just call it here? If people really want to see it, I'll do it. But if people are like, we don't care, then I'll just call it. We've been going for 3 hours. I'm going to have to get some more water. I lost interest in Elijah. Yeah, I feel it. He's found a new e-girl, though. Don't you understand, Alexandra? He found a new e-girl. And she says slurs. Isn't that so base and red pill? Isn't that so awesome? He's an authority figure in my life, okay? I take all my cues from Elijah. That was irony, if you didn't know. Okay, that was sarcasm. That was joke. No e-girls ever, not even once. I have that clip too. I got that clip. It's freaking hot in here too. Maybe I'll just call it. Elijah stirring up trouble. We kind of got on some tangents though, for real. That's what kind of ate up a lot of the time, which I like tangents. I'm a tangent maker. I'm a tangent man. All right. I think we're going to call it there. Elijah, we'll have to just wait for another time. Because something tells me that this is going to unfold even more than what it is. And with this new girl, I think that I'll have an opportunity to come back to this shit at a later date anyway. So we'll save it. We'll save it for another time. I'll change the title of the stream. But okay, that's going to be it for me. It's 10 o'clock. I know, we've been going for 3 hours. I think Alexander's got the right idea. It's freaking hot in here. I'm thirsty. I'm getting tired. We'll call it. We'll call it there, boys and girls. That was a good video, though. I really enjoyed that. Oh, we got the Nala shit in there. We got the Clav shit. Elon. You know what? That's good. That's good. That's good enough. We're going to call it there. We'll talk about Elijah another day. Okay. We will be back next Friday, 7 p.m. Clips will be up during the week. You guys all have a good rest of your weekend, and I will see you all next Friday, 7 p.m. Everybody have a good night.
Thank you.